Yo, people, what's good? What's good? Welcome back to another episode on Gooner TV. As you can see today, we'll be recapping the Nations League window for the Reggae Boys. We're going to give player grades to all the players. Hold on. Playing back. Oh, yeah, okay, that's why. All right, sorry about that, people. So yeah, we'll be recapping the Nations League. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, people. Let me know if you are hearing me, if the audio is coming through. Let me know if you notice a difference in the quality as well. We did make some slight changes to the channel, trying to improve the content we bring. So hopefully it is coming across in the screen. Definitely looking crispy and clean right now in the camera. I'm not sure if it's coming across, but yes, looking good, people. So we're gonna let the chat continue to fill up. Basically, as I said before, people, we're just gonna go to do a recap of the Nations League. Of course, on this channel, we love to break down the football, so we're just gonna break down in depth. Go through each player, try to give a passing or failing grade. Hopefully, nobody gets a failing grade today, but we're not going to spare the rod. If people need to be judged harshly, they will be judged harshly. So we're gonna go through it. People definitely want it to be as interactive as possible. So as the chat fills up, be sure to leave your comments as we go through the players. You see under my name there, I put professor. Basically, going to use a grading scale today. So obviously, most of you, I'm sure, have been to school. So we're going to go from A to F on the grading scale. We will do pluses and minuses where necessary. So yeah, that's something I wanted to do to recap the entire window. There's been a lot in the news about off the field stuff lately. We're not really going to touch on that today. We're just going to keep it strictly to on the pitch, try to break down the performances, try to give the coach a grade as well. Also, towards the end of the show, once we've done that, just want to look forward to the World Cup qualifiers June 6th and June 9th, and also the Copa America, which starts on June the 22nd. So a lot of football to come for the Reggae Boys. So it's exciting times. I can see improvements in the team, and we're just gonna go through and see, where we can improve to continue this this run that we've been on of improved results, and slowly coming around to improve performances as well. So as I said before, people, just gonna let the chat fill a little bit more before we get going. Let me bless up the people who are in the building. So big up my cousin Damian Levy, bless up also a panelist on the show when we are discussing the EPL for the most part. John Hall, my other cousin, big up yourself. Take over well underway. Yes. I like the sounds of that. Biancaneri boss, bless up yourself. My brethren, let's see. Michael Hall, respect, dad. Okay, gonna join. All right, cool. Yeah, man, you have the link. So whenever you feel like, just go ahead and click. We're gonna get started in a minute here, going through the players. If you want to go through those with me. Big up Dre Any Weather Sports, people. If you don't know, check out Dre Any Weather Sports channel, the breaking news boss of the space. Always dropping the news before it comes out. The Fabrizio of the space, you know what I mean? So give him a strength, people. Go and subscribe, give him a like and stuff. And people, I just want to thank again the massive growth of the channel. We're really well on our way to the 1,000 subscribers. I was hoping we could get to that. I had a timeline in mind, and I'm definitely going along just the way I would like. So just keep supporting people, like, share. Definitely get the word out that Jason Gooner has a channel, and it's a place where you can get unbiased, unfiltered commentary on all things Reggae Boys and football in general. So, as I said, people, looking back, third place for the Reggae Boys. How you feel? Do you feel like, I feel a great sense of pride. I think, especially when you factor in how we lost and the circumstances of the semifinal game. 95 minutes, we look like we're going to be in the final. So, kudos to the boys. I think they did well. I think the coach definitely tweaked the system, and I definitely liked what I saw as far as the defensive stability. I think we got to see more players in their rightful positions where they can be most comfortable on the pitch. So we saw improved performances from a lot of players who many may have been on the fence about, as far as representing the Reggae Boys. I think some of them made some that weren't believers after this window. So as I said, people, we're going to go through the players and just give an overall grade for them for the window. Of course, Anytime I delve into things like this, I like to, take a look at the stats as well. So we will be pulling up on screen their actual performance based on SofaScore rating that tracks the players' touches and everything they do throughout the match. So we are going to go ahead and do that. So let me pull up the first player on my list. And we're just going to go through people, goalkeepers through to the forwards. I have an idea of what the grades are going to be, but I don't just want to give the grades. I want to give a little rundown and synopsis of the players. And so you can all figure out how I came to my conclusion as the professor to give the grades for the Nations League. So basically, we played 2 matches, obviously, one versus USA in the semi, and then the third place game against Panama. So what I'm going to do now, people, is just bring up the first match, which is the USA match. And I'm going to just go through the players one by one. So we'll be looking at it that way. So let me, okay, perfect. So that's on the screen, lovely. All right, so let me know, people. Maybe I'll zoom once here just to get it a little closer. All right, cool. So let's look at Andre Blake, people. So in the first game, Andre Blake got an overall score of a 7.2. As you see here, 90 minutes played. He had 2 saves. Wait, which one? Oh, this is not the right match. Yeah, here we go. We want the USA match. So what are you seeing, people? Yes, good. So you're seeing the USA match. Wonderful. All right, so 120 minutes played. He had 5 saves. He had 5 saves, 4 from inside the box, 39 touches. Accurate passes, 11 for 25 for 44%, so not the best there. He had 22 long balls, completed 8 of them, and 1 clearance. So on the day, did concede 3 goals, got a 7.1, did make 5 saves. So his score, was helped by his activity in the goal. I thought in both games he did a better job commanding his box. It's one of the things that I don't think that he's best at as a goalkeeper, but he did, I think, improve in that regard in these 2 games. Commanded his box better, handled the crosses better, had good communication with his defense as well. And I think the only mark that I will give him off for this game in particular, and probably for the entire window, was I did think that, at times he just did not trust his teammates enough. And I would have loved to have seen him, have enough confidence and courage to play that pass into midfield to build through the channels a little more. I do think in the first game, I'm not going to kill him too much because I think overall our defense was under immense pressure. USA, as you know, is a very, very strong pressing team, so they don't really give you much time on the ball. And I think also at this stage of our development as a team, I don't think progressing the ball through from the back is one of our strongest points. I think it's something that we're learning on the fly and getting better at, but I don't think we're where I think Coach Hallgrímsson would want us to be in the long run. So I think for me in the first game, a 7.1 is pretty much fair. I think if the passing accuracy and the passing stats were better, it could have been higher, even with the concession of the 3 goals, especially factoring in that all 3 goals came in 1 30-minute stretch. And the rest of the game, we pretty much, kept Blake unscathed as far as conceding a goal. And to be honest, most of those saves came in the extra time period when we were, trying to go for it in the game more. So Tyrone says, yes, it's looking and sounding good. Wonderful, wonderful. Sebastian, my friend, big up yourself, bro. Respect for being here. We're going to go through the team, so feel free to let me know what you think as well. Fresh God, bless up, bless up, bless up. Make sure you're letting the people know to like the video as we go along. All right. So that's the USA game, people. I want to move along now to the other match, which is the Panama match for Blake. So let's do that really quick. Pull that up. All right. So for the Panama match, Andre Blake got 0.1 more, so 7.2. Wasn't as busy in this match as far as saves. 2 saves on the night. Let's see. He was 2 for 2 on his runouts, successful there, so that was good. I remember a through pass in particular he had to run out for. Didn't really have the best clearance, but we ended up dodging a bullet anyway. High claims one save from inside the box. 49 touches, had 26 of 38 for 68%, so much better on his accuracy in this game, and did attempt 6 less long passes, and was 4 for 16 on those. So not the best, but 25% isn't terrible on long passes from the keeper. 2 clearances on the day and didn't have anything else to register on the score sheet. So, pretty consistent in his 2 scores from SofaScore, 7.1 and a 7.2. I think in this game, of course, Panama is maybe not as high a pressing team as the US. So I even would have liked him to have the long balls even less, or long passes even less on this than 16. I don't think we're under that type of pressure to where it really warranted long passes at times. But again, I don't think he's the most courageous when it comes to passing out the ball from the back. So I feel like, that's a part of that's something that I want to see him develop a bit more. As as you've seen the team change and develop, we have a lot more technical players around the back now. And especially in that system, we have a few more options coming out of the back as well. So, with that being said, I would love for Blake to make that next step now and just trust his feet, trust his teammates that they can receive. Even if they're under a bit of pressure, it might take a player out of the game if they can pop a pass, one touch, and take the player marking them out of the game. So, yeah, man, it's something that I think we can look forward to as we move forward. Blake's progression and getting more comfortable and confident. I think he has it in him. I've seen him play for Philly and trust his teammates a bit more. So hopefully, as the system evolves, he can do the same for us, because I did see at times in both of these games, even against the USA and their press, we did have options to play out by passing. And I just feel like the confidence wasn't there to try it. So that's something that I would love to see us do moving forward. So overall, people, Andre Blake, I have him down for a B plus. I think as far as when you break down the goalkeeping aspect of things, you have goalkeeping, shot stopping, handling, things of that nature. I think he gets A to A plus, right? I think he stopped pretty much most shots that he could. Made one brilliant save in the Panama game for sure. Had a couple of good stops in the USA game as well. Before the floodgates opened in extra time. And I think all 3 goals he conceded, pretty much he couldn't do much about. I thought Haji Wright was very clever in his finishing on both of his goals. And I thought the deflection off of Burke was just one of those plays where, you can't really kill anybody on that play. It was just, bad bounces, 2 in a row basically that caused that goal. So, and a little bit of lack defending as well, as far as the marking on Robinson on the near post. But can't kill Blake too much. But overall, like I said, A for the shot stopping, but I will mark him down a bit because, as I said, I thought he had the opportunity to keep the ball a bit more when he had it, keep it on the ground, play through the channels, but didn't have the courage to do so. So overall, I'm going to have to give Andre Blake a B plus for the entire tournament. So people, let me know if you're watching now or you're watching on the watch back. You can leave your grades for all the players in the comment section and we can continue the conversation that way. But for me, I am saying a B plus for Andre Blake. So let me go through here and see who else. Fresh, letting them know how many like in the video. Let them know. Limes, well, you correct yourself to likes, but the original professor caught it. A whole heap of lemonade that, 16 limes. Corey MPA, bless up yourself, respect for being here, my bro. Yeah, it seems clear. Not willing to take as many chances. I do think in the past I have beat him for that, and I think at times he has been right to make that decision, because I don't think in the back 4 we necessarily had all the options needed to break a high press. But I think with this new system, with a couple more outlets and the midfield tucking a little closer, I think there's more than enough options to take your time and build a play. So hopefully, moving forward, as I said, that's the next step where he kind of trusts it a little bit more. So let me back out of that right now, and we're going to move to the next set of players. So, of course, people, we had 3 goalkeepers, but only Blake got a chance to hit the field. So we just can give him a score. And again, I give Blake a B+. Yeah, so Michael Hall says that's a fair grade. Yeah, man, I think that's fair. You know, when you factor in everything in totality, B+ is probably right where he sits. So the next player, and I'm just gonna use the list that the JFF had put out. So this is not in any order or anything, but the next name and as I said, people, the goalkeepers didn't get a chance to play, so I can't grade them. Let's see what Trey has to say. Really loved how the team are developed. Grimson doing well, and team played amazing these past few matches, especially the Canada game. Yeah, Trey. I think the Canada game, you know, while we got the result in the second leg, and we actually did create quite a few chances in both legs, I thought the only thing that I didn't love in the Canada games, Trey, was we gave up and conceded a lot of chances as well. And I think, you know, if we're talking the Canada window, Blake, I thought, got an A+ for that one, because the amount of times he stopped point blank chances was crazy. You know, he was on fire in those 2 games, to be honest. So, but yeah, I agree that you can see the development. And I think even this tournament, even though we didn't get the results against the US and we beat Panama, you know, the concession of chances was way down. I thought the defense was a lot more sturdy. And, you know, even though we have some deficiencies in midfield as far as building and keeping possession, I do think that the midfield was a lot sturdy defensively as well in this window. So, you know, I think this coach is staying true to form. He was sold to us, or you know, when you look at his research, his history, and his background, he's a defensive first coach, and it seems like he's getting that part of the pitch together. And now the next step is to transition that into us being able to be more than just a counter-attacking team. Can we build a play? Can we switch the play when we're in possession to create more gaps? I think that's the next progression, to, you know, not become just that one-trick counter-attacking pony. Can we have stretches in the game where we actually are the protagonists? You know, because a lot of times we are, you know, reacting to what teams are doing, and can we be more proactive in games? I think that's the next step, you know. We're going to get a good midfielder for Copa. His document submit. Well, big league, respect for that info, bro. But I believe that, you know, while this channel may not be so large, I do think that certain people do scour these programs and figure out what names are being called. So, you know, I like that you put a good midfielder and didn't bother put a name. That is good. I think that's the next step we have to take, people, because it's clear that there's a bidding war with some of these players. And, you know, I think that the later they find out about some of these names, the better it will be for us, because we'll be just talking to them behind the scenes. So, yeah, man, that's my 2 cents on those things as well, big league. So adopt that same strategy, big league, because a lot of the people don't understand that it could have a negative influence on whether the players can eventually come or not. Yeah, man, stop put out the name them, man. And we need to get that word out there for stop put out the name them. All right, people. So as I say, the next player I'm going to go through, we're not going to pull up his stats or anything because he didn't get that much time. But I will give him a grade, and that's Richard King. He came on in the second game against Panama. Let me see here. Richard King came on against Panama very late. And it's, boy, to be honest, people, I'm not going to grade Richard King. I think that would be unfair. I did write a grade for him on here, but I don't really see the point. He only played, you know, 1 minute plus injury time of the second game. So about 6 minutes totally played. So, you know, really can't say much about him. 8 minutes is what he's docked for here. Did not come on in the first game. So, you know, for 8 minutes, I'm not going to grade him. I don't really see the point. So let's move on from Richard King. So the next player on my list, and I won't do the next player on my list because he's actually a midfielder. So I'll move him down there. So the next player on my list is Deshaun Bernard, people. So Deshaun Bernard, you know, a player that has been around for several windows now. Someone that, you know, for me had gotten a bad rap in the beginning about his the rashness of his play as a defender. You know, something that I think was grossly overblown by a lot of the fans. I remember the game when it really happened, because in the Gold Cup I didn't hear it much, but after the Gold Cup in the Nations League, in the Nations League, he came on at halftime in a game. I think it was against Haiti in the stadium, and he made a challenge right when he came on and got a yellow card. And from that moment, people were worried about him, because in that particular game, Lowe didn't have the best first half either. And, for some reason, they kind of got placed together as the rash ones in the defense. But, I've been watching the player a lot, especially since we have Bailey Cadamarteri as well at Sheffield Wednesday. So I've been seeing them play some games recently, and that's what I wanted to really check for. Is he having any kind of development in terms of his timing and in terms of him going to ground? Because I do think that at times he used to go to ground too much. I think at times it might have been him never really being 100% fit, because he's always been a player that struggles with injuries. So I don't think he really trusts himself to, chase after players if he doesn't just kind of commit and go to ground and try to win the ball right away. But his patience has gotten a lot better in that respect, and I think that's due to the repetitive nature of how many games he's playing and his body feeling more fit, like he can handle everything. So, if I still use a phone, no, I'm not use no phone, big man. Big machine, may I use, Ishmael. Big machine. You can't see the quality. The quality is not normal. Yeah, man, big up Owen. Respect for being here, bro. Just I go through and I give the grades. You see the professor, I give him report card grades, So I go through the players. So Deshaun Bernard, people, let me pull up his 2 games that we had in the Nations League. The first game, of course, that 120 minutes that he played for Jamaica against USA in that extra time loss. So let's get that on screen, people. So this is that game. He had 120 minutes. Look at the amount of clearances, people. 11 clearances. Incredible. A lot of defensive stops there and getting the ball out the area. 3 block shots, also very good. 4 interceptions and 5 tackles. So that's a lot of defensive work for the game there, people. This one is a big one. 0 dribble pass. So Deshaun Bernard definitely had a stellar game. A game that your team loses 3-1 to get over 7, that means you really put in a good shift. 5 for 9 on his ground duels, 3 for 6 on his aerials. Touched the ball 46 times and only lost it 6 times. Very good in the high pressing nature of that game, with the US on top of us for most of it. He committed 3 fouls. Was not yellow carded, which is good. I think one of those he might have deserved one but didn't get it. He was 16 for 19 for 84% on his passes, people. So that to me is a telltale sign that this kid is a really technical player. Because if you can get over 80% in a game where Jamaica's passing accuracy as a team was somewhere in the 50s or low 60s, that simply means that, this kid is somebody that we can definitely look to build out in the future. With all that pressure, only went long 3 times. So that's showing me again that he's composed and he's willing to take the chances and has the courage to play and connect with his other teammates in all areas of the pitch. So, great stats, honestly, for a 3-1 loss for a defender. The no dribble pass stands out to me, and also the passing accuracy. So let's juxtapose that now with the second game we played. Which was against Panama in the 3rd place match. So let's get that on screen now, people, and see. Let's get Blake off of there, and let's pull up Deshaun. All right, so Deshaun Bernard in the second game, of course, 30 less minutes, didn't go to extra time, so 90 plus. 1 interception and 1 tackle. So what stands out to me here, people, is, to go from 11 clearances, 3 blocks, a bunch of tackles, interceptions to this little, just lets me know that we definitely had a much better control of this game in terms of, even though we didn't win the possession battle, we did a much better job of stopping them before it turned into a shooting chance or a clear chance. He only went into 3 duels, was successful on 2 of them on the ground, went into 2 aerials and lost both, had 43 touches, so in 30 less minutes, almost the same amount of touches in this game as the first, and he lost the ball 8 times. He committed 1 foul and was fouled once. Again, very good accuracy on his passing stats, 27 of 33 for 82%, and he only went long 7 times and completed 3 of those, which is very, very good. So a 7.1 for Bernard. So again, very consistent. So a 7.3 and a 7.1 from SofaScore's perspective. I think personally, people, Deshaun Bernard, for me, if this is the system moving forward, pretty much has cemented a role back there. I think it's going to be tough when Pinnock comes back to pick this back three, to be honest. I wouldn't be upset with any variation of it. I think Ethan Pinnock pretty much picks himself due to his quality. But what do you do with Hector Bernard and Latiba there? How is that going to look? We're going to see here how the grades shake out. But I think for me, over the run of both games, I can't give Deshaun Bernard anything less than an A. I thought he was pretty magnificent. I'm not going to give him the A plus only because we did concede 3 goals in the first game. But I think he himself can be very proud of what he did in this. I'm going to give him an A. I almost wanted to give him an A plus, to be honest. But again, we can't concede 3 goals in the first game and have been do that. But I think possession wise, top. I think he was the best with the ball out of all the players over the 2 games. I think Latiba there was a little better in the second game with on the ball, but over the course of the 2 games, I think he was the most consistent player. And it shows if he could have his accuracy so high against the US, and you'll see as I pull up Hector and Lambic and Latiba their stats that he actually touched the ball more than them in the USA game and still completed more passes. So and had a higher accuracy. So when that's the case, you have to give him something pretty high. So I'm gonna put in the chat my grade for him. So Deshaun Bernard for me gets an A on this window. All right, and I'm gonna go through the chat and see if anybody else has anything to say. So Trey786 gives Bernard a C plus. Wow. Okay, well that to me is a bit low, but if you could expound on that, that would be great. I would love to know why you think he deserves just a C plus. It's not a guarantee that a player is good, but he is Manu Academy product. His quality is showing more and more with each game. Immense in this window. Yeah, I think a lot of these guys that were previous products of those bigger clubs, sometimes it's not even their talent that gets them out of the club. I just think it's, for some of them, and for Bernard especially, it was just timing of injuries because, I'd say around 2018, 19, 2020, around that same whole time frame, he was starting to get that opportunity in the cup games. And, I just think his timing with his injuries just didn't work out for him. But, definitely there's a solid player in there. And, I saw a lot on the mental side that I'm pleased with, his development as far as just timing of challenges, when to go, when not to go, when to fall off. So, I gave him an A. Some looks like based on what people are saying, it might be a little high. Yeah, all of them joke me and make him can get a B. All right, cool. So Trey they just run a joke with him first one. Corey MPA said Bernard get a B. All right, Corey. All right. Well, yeah, I gave him an A. I thought he was probably our most consistent performer over the 2 games, to be honest. I've been thinking about it a lot, and I voted on a few polls about who was the best player of the window. And I had been putting Hector for the most part, but when I really took a deep dive into the actual stats and everything, Deshaun Bernard, I think when you add in what he did on the ball, I give him the slight edge over Hector, to be honest, over the window. So that's what I will say there. All right, so next up, since I just referenced him, we'll go ahead and add him in. We are going to talk about one big heck, Michael Hector. So let's go ahead and pull up the USA game again, because we're going to go through both as well as we have done with the rest of them. So let's pull up Michael Hector. So SofaScore gave him a 6.4 rating. I thought that was a bit low, to be honest, at first glance at this, but when you go through the stats, it kind of tells a story as to how it got so low in the end. But let's just go through the raw data and see what we think. 120 minutes played, so the entire game. He had 5 clearances, no block shots, 1 interception, 4 tackles, was dribbled past only once. Ground, and I believe that dribble pass was Reina on the first goal, I believe. Yeah, Reina on the first goal. So it was a costly dribble pass there. Ground duels, he won 4 out of 5. Aerial duels, 3 out of 5. Possession lost 7 times out of 32 touches. He was 15 for 22 on passes, so 68%. So not the best, especially for a player of his caliber. But again, we have to factor in the opponent. The USA press very, very well as a team. 2 for 6 on his long ball, so didn't really go long so many times. 33% on those. So those were his stats for the USA game. I think his stats probably, if they counted on this rating as far as organizing is concerned, he probably would deserve a little bit more than a 6.4. But the raw data kind of explains why. I think, when you factor in the possession stats, and you factor in, his dual percentage was pretty good, but the amount of times they were in the box, maybe they would want him to be in more duels, maybe. I don't know. But, 6.4 for me is a little low. I'd say it's closer to a 7, like a 6.8, in my estimation. But let's just go ahead and move to the second game, where he, I think, had the most outstanding score as far as the Reggae Boyz are concerned. So let's pull that up. According to SofaScore, that is, people. So let's go to Michael Hector in this one. So he got a 7.9 rating this time, almost a 8, basically 90 minutes played, 95 total with injury time. He had 1 assist in the game, which he was the one that played the long through pass to Lembikisa, who ended up scoring the goal. So big pass there from Hector after intercepting a ball, which was one of his 2 interceptions. He had a block shot, 3 clearances, and 2 tackles. He was 2 for 3 on his ground duels and 2 of 2 on his aerials. He touched the ball 69 times, so a lot more possession. So much more concerted effort to build in the second game, partly due to Panama not having the amount of high press that the US do. And secondly, because I think the coach did mention it in his press conference that that's what he wanted to see from his team, that courage and composure to play out from the back. So 69 touches. As I said before, lost the ball 9 times, so not too bad. 2 key passes, which is good from your central defensive player, deepest player on the pitch, to make 2 key passes. That's good there. He was 50 of 58 on his passes for 86%, so very good. Went long 13 times, but he was more than 50% accurate, so I can live with that. He created the 1 big chance, and he did have 1 block shot. So overall, very good game from Hector in the second game, a 7.9 rating. I think if this is the system moving forward, that back 5, he looks to be the best candidate for that at the moment. Ethan Pinnock, I think, can play there as well, has played there for his club. But when you factor in that Pinnock is left-footed, maybe you utilize him on the left side of Hector in the middle of that defense. So, lot of different variations we can go with. But for this window, I'm going to give Michael Hector A-. I think that Bernard was slightly better, to be honest, over the 2 games when you really factor everything in. But I will give Michael Hector A-. I thought his command of the system itself and his ability to just make sure that players were in the right place really, really helped us out. So, I think Michael Hector for me gets an A- on this window. So people, let me know in the comment section what you think. Again, if you're watching this on the watch back, feel free to leave your grades for all the players or any specific players you just want to leave your grades for. Anything is welcomed on the channel, and we can continue the conversation that way. All right, so I did miss out Tom Stranger and Bernard. He said a B+. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, man, make them know that. Like, share, and subscribe. Jackie Love TV, big up yourself. Pinnock for low in midfield. Boy, Jackie Love, I don't know, I would rather have Pinnock on the back line, but I think we can do better if we're gonna replace Low than moving Pinnock from the back line as well. So, as I said, A- for Michael Hector. Yeah, man, RR, the thing I turn up, bro. The quality is getting where I want it. Just a few more tweaks down in the pipeline, and we'll be where we want to be. But for the meantime, we just go and make the channel grow as it has been. I really appreciate the support from everybody, man. Yeah, man. Jackie Love, I don't know Jackie Love. I want to keep him around the back. Keep him where he's the best, Cephas versus Whisper, who would you choose? Right now, I would probably say Cephas. To be totally honest with you, I would say Cephas right now. You don't think that's going to happen? No, I don't believe so either. I don't believe so either. All right, so let's go to the next player on the list. So I have Michael Hector down for an A minus. So some people might not agree with me on that. I did give Bernard a slightly better mark, but again, on the surface, I thought Hector was the best. And then when I did some more analytics and actually watch back the majority of both games, I do give Bernard the slight edge. But I think both were great. Both worthy of an A grade. Bernard slightly better, so I gave him the A, and Hector gets the A minus. So I'm going to go now to a player that was listed as a midfielder, people, but played defense in this window and played it very well, in my estimation. And that is Joel Latibodere, a player that definitely has flattered to deceive in windows previous in midfield. But I do think that we may have found his home with our team in this new system that Hallgrímsson played for the window. So, runners, that would be great. If that happens, that would be great. Best in a long time. Which duo are you talking? Bernard and Hector? Yeah, man. Well, it was really a trio, people. So let's not forget about the third person in the trio of the back five or the back three system. And that would be Joel Latibodere. So a player that was much more at home in his surroundings around the back. In the first game when we lost 3-1, as you can see at the top of the screen there, SofaScore gave Latibodere a 6.5. And we're going to go through his actual stats for the game. So played the entire match. He had 12 clearances, so one more than Bernard on the day, who had 11. He had 2 block shots, no interceptions, no tackles, but he was dribbled past once. So glaring right there, no interceptions, no tackles, a bit tough because we're under pressure a lot. So would have loved him to have made one in that game or have a successful tackle in that game. Ground duels, he was 0 for 4, and he did win 2 out of 3 of his aerials. He only touched the ball 35 times, people, which is extremely low for that amount of time in the match. But of course, we were on the back foot for most of it. Somehow we got back to Bernard, people. Here we go. Here's Latibodere again. As I said, 35 touches, lost the ball 10 times. He did commit 2 fouls. On his passing was very poor on the day, 11 of 20 for 55%. So that's really, really bad, especially a player of his technical ability. And he displayed that in the next game. So one thing I want to ask people, were these stats more a byproduct of how we played that game, or is it just that the USA's press is just too much to deal with? Because Bernard's stats weren't so bad, as far as passing in this game, but Latibodere's was really bad. So is it that Latibodere is tasked with more playing through the lines? What do you think contributed to this, people? Because 55% is really bad for him. He did have 1 key pass out of his 11 accurate passes, though, so that's good. Long balls, he went 7 times, or long passes, I should say. Don't worry me, people. He was successful on 1 of those 7 long passes. So all in all, 6.5. Mainly that rating has a lot to do with his defensive output, because the stats of the possession and passing would have brought that down a lot. So 6.5 on the day. Not the best of stats on the day, but defensively was very solid. I thought his positioning was really good. I thought he, had some last-ditch clearances, breaking his neck to get to a ball and things of that nature. So I thought overall defensively he looked really good. Just wasn't really impressed with him in possession in the USA game. But to be totally honest, besides Bernard, I thought everyone on the back line was kind of poor in possession. So let's go to the second game, where he received a higher score, a 6.9. Did have a yellow card on the day. Played the entire match. He had 2 clearances, 1 interception. Again, no tackles, but he wasn't dribbled past this time. 1 out of 3 on ground duels, 1 out of 3 on aerial duels. He touched the ball 57 times and improved immensely, only losing it 3 times. He committed 2 fouls and was fouled once. But people, this is the glaring one for me in this game. 45 of 48 for 94%. I have been watching Jamaica for I don't know how long, but I can tell you, ever since stats have become a thing where I can track with Jamaica, I can't remember a defender or a player for that matter getting over 90% passing for an entire game with this many passes attempted. 48 attempts. and he completed 45. So big ups to the passing on that second game. I saw even a different Latibo there in this game, like playing playing 1-2s to the midfielders, playing 1-2s with Hector, moving into space to find pockets. Just overall, it seemed like the coach really entrusted him to be that trigger out of the back, because every time he would be upset when we went long, he would say, "Let's play." I saw him saying it. So obviously somebody that the coach trusts in terms of building out from the back, and he definitely showed his class in this game as far as that is concerned. For me, not the biggest defender physically in terms of height, but I think his IQ and his smarts help him out a lot in that regard, because he's still able to cut out a lot of plays, even with the lack of physicality that he might have in terms of just, overall height. So solid player. I think a player that, as he gets more comfortable with the Reggae Boyz, we're seeing better and better performances. And I think this final move by the coach, taking him out of midfield, putting him on the back line, really, really, we get to saw the best of him for the first time. So, hopefully people can come around to the player, somebody that I think is a part of our future. Definitely still very young. I think 23 going on 24, if I'm not mistaken. So definitely one for the future and one for the now, if we're being totally honest. So, for me, on the overall balance of the two games, I'm going to give Joel Latibo there a minus as well, just like Hector. I think that, the first game, the possession was not great, but defensively he was immense. So I'll probably give him a B to B plus for that game. And in the second game, I think he deserves no less than an A, to be honest. I thought, again, he might have done better defensively, just winning a few more tackles and whatnot, but I don't think the game really required that. I think he did his job really well, and over the balance of the two games, I will be giving Latibo there an A minus. So far, I have A minuses for Hector and Latibo there, and Bernard got the highest mark for me so far with an A on the window. So I'm going to put in the chat Latibo there A minus. And while I was doing that breakdown, I see some more comments, so let me go through really quick. With the back five we have now is very solid, says Jackie Love TV. Let me take this off the screen for now. Or say yes, Big Heck gets an A plus from Fresh God. Bernard gets an A, so he has it a little bit different from me. Yes, it's solid, but that 5 started only because Pinnock was not here. That's a good point, Dad. One that I want to touch on at some point. Was this change a byproduct more of the players that we had, or is it just something that he thought would give us the best results for this window, regardless of the players? If we had the full complement of players, would we ever have seen this formation? That's a very, very good question to ask ourselves. Latibo there gets an A. I can't complain there. Pinnock will give better pass and control as a CDM than Low. Go and watch over the game. Yeah, Jackie Love, I think everyone, well, I don't know if everyone, but me personally with Low, I think there are pros to him playing there in terms of the energy and him getting around the pitch and maybe winning the ball back a bit faster for us. But I do think that the con of him being there is, I don't think he really helps in us trying to build through the channels. I don't really think even when he wins the ball, he necessarily does the best with it in terms of what he does after winning it. So, there's definitely deficiencies to him being there. But it's not all negative. There are some positives to what he brings to the midfield that kind of does help us out at times. But I don't know if the positive outweighs the negative as far as him playing there. That's something that we have to analyze some more. Cephas and Dixon cement their little spot in the squad. Growth loading. Boy, I don't know if Dixon has cemented his place, but I do think right now Cephas probably has, just due to the fact that you can just see what he could bring, especially, I think his true potential will be unlocked once we use him off the bench, give him a little more time than the Panama match, like a 20 minutes, 25 minutes in games, just to put the defense under pressure, because they'll be more tired and he'll be more fit. So, I can see him being a danger. Not saying that he could never start, but I think coming off the bench is going to be his true superpower for us. Pinnock does not have the mobility needed. I agree. I don't think he's going to want to cover as much ground as is required in our system as a midfielder. I think it's one of the things that really gets Carroy Anderson out. Casey Palmer out as well. I don't think he wants to run as much as is required in our midfield role, because those two midfielders in the middle really have a lot of ground to cover in the system. Reese Nelson, Jacob Ramsey, Isaiah Marie. Yeah, so Jackie Love, I would love to have those guys as well, but one thing I'm trying to bring to the space is just perhaps not bringing the names of the players when we I don't think we should do that anymore, because I can see how it could negatively affect us, Jackie Love, to be honest. You don't have to take my advice or anything, but that's just my personal feeling on it. Pushing into midfield. Yep. That's what Latibodir was doing. That's what he was doing very well. Up Martin Baker, one of the supporters them from day one. So respect yourself, Martin, and join the conversation if you'd like, in terms of giving your grades as well for the players. Yeah, man, let them know. So yeah, I gave him an A- people. Claudia, respect, my dear. Thank you for being here. Rati, that rhyme. I'm a big artist from a long time, so I might rhyme words from time to time. The people that know me know that that's something that happens, But bless up Miss Claudia for being there. If you haven't already, which I'm sure you have, subscribe to the video, share it to some friends as well. Let the channel keep growing. We're doing it organically over here, so hopefully you love the content. Hopefully you see the difference in the quality as well, Miss Claudia, because I know some people were straining their eyes to see me before, but shouldn't have that issue anymore, Need some striker or forward line not working hard enough. I don't know if it's the hard work, Jackie Love, much. We just need a little more, quality in the moments, But the first game was definitely not a forward type game, or a game to assess the forward line. The second game would be more along those lines. And Boza did put himself about, but I think, he would probably tell himself that he could have done more technique-wise in terms of holding the ball up better. The ball was bouncing off of him a bit more than I have seen lately at in the French league, since he has been cleaning up his approach play a lot more, and positional play, and just kind of letting the ball stick a lot better. I didn't really see that as much in the Panama game, and I'm sure he will tell you that he would have loved to have finished that chance he got in that game as well. And I would love to hear what he thinks about the follow-up rebound that happened as well. See if he thinks he should have laid it off, or he did the right thing there. That's all we can do in a ball kick, is put in the work, People will eventually see the work and respect the work. And I know they respect it now, but it will just grow from strength to strength, ball kick. As long as I continue to do what you put right there, just put in the work and do the work. Transition play very slow, but our team looked better than how it was. Yeah. We can still get better, but it does look better than before. See if I need a little word. He run too straight. Yeah, Manavala, I agree. I think him can kind of vary him running a little bit, and yeah, I think he might have a couple levels that him can go to for sure. But don't sure about Dixon, the fact that he's a young player, but we'll see going forward. Probably Grimmy bring him to the Copa. Yeah, we'll see. I think that Copa squad, if everybody is fit, is going to be really difficult to break down. I would love to know how many players the Copa America actually is letting you have. I am under the impression that it's 23 like normal, but I did hear something about maybe 26. I'm not sure. I will do some research and get with that, but that will be a difficult one. If everybody is available, I'm sure some people's favorites will not be on that team, That's just the way it will be. Respect, Miss Claudia. Long passes. Yeah, man. Biancaneri boss. I have to catch myself more a while. But long passes, yes. Big up yourself, Drew Ross. You get your wrench, brother, for bad me up no more. Big up yourself, man. Respect. Like the video. All right, people. So let's continue with the defenders. So the next defender we want to go through is Mr. Greg Lee from Oxford United. So people love to talk about where these players play and whatnot, and League One, and them like to laugh after the players. But one thing I will tell you, people, if you're a professional player and you're in a system of play and you understand it, you can look at just as good as any other player. And I think Greg Lee definitely acquitted himself really well in both of these games. So let's go to the first one. He got a 7.1 from SofaScore. did score the lone goal for us in seconds. I believe I think it was 10 seconds or 8 seconds or 12 seconds, something like that. Very, very fast goal. Got all the way into the opposing box on the far post and was able to head home. So that was a big, big moment for us. And we were so close to that goal being, the winning goal. But alas, we conceded late and lost in extra time. So let's just go through Greg Lee's stats. 102 minutes played. He had 1 goal, as I just alluded to. He had 37 touches on the day and lost the ball 22 times. So if you're wondering, people, he scored a lone goal for us, and I don't believe he was even the highest rated player on the day. His possession really had a big part to play in that. So again, people, I will repeat, he touched the ball 37 times and lost it 22 times. So anytime you're losing the ball more than you have touched it, that's very, very poor. His passing accuracy was 6 out of 16 for 38%. Very, very poor. Again, he had 7 attempted long passes, did not complete any of them. He had 1 shot on target, which was his goal, and he was 0 for 1 on dribbles attempted. He had 5 ground duels, completed 2 successful on 2 of them, and he was 0 for 3 on his aerial duels, and he did commit 1 foul. Then to his defensive stats, he had 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, and he was only dribbled past 1 time in 102 minutes. Now, one thing that SofaScore probably didn't account for, which I will just touch on briefly, was he was responsible for marking Robinson on the corner where he got the flick on. And right prior to that, he was going down with cramp. So I would love to think that he maybe wasn't up to physical shape to really do his best on that play. And that was a part of the reason why Robinson was able to get the run on him for pretty much the first time in the entire game. 7.1 for Greg Lee in the first game. Again, the goal great, but the possession stats not so good. I think positioning was good on the day. Worked well with his left center back on the day, which was Latibo there, just to kind of clog that gaps. But I will say most of the attacks on the day that were successful did happen to stem from that right side. So of the two, I thought Dexter was a little better defending, and Greg Lee, while he scored the goal, really wasn't the best going forward due to his poor passing accuracy on the day. All of this with a grain of salt, of course, because the USA are one of the best pressing teams in the entire world. So we cannot go around that fact. But 38% over that time frame is not good enough. And I'm sure Greg Lee would tell you that himself. Let's look at the second game. Greg Lee did have to leave the pitch. I don't think it was any serious injury. Looked like around the same exact time as the first game, he started to get cramp. And the coach actually did not wait this time, went ahead and put on a substitute for him in the 89th minute. But he overall got a 6.6 from SofaScore. 89 minutes played. He had 43 touches and lost the ball 16 times. So not as many times losing the ball, but still a bit too many for me. 12 of 25 passes, so improved on the day, but 60%. I would love that to be closer to in the 70s. I know he's playing a little more attacking, so I'm not gonna say it should be up in the 80s, 90s like Latibo there and them and Bernard, but 60%. I'm sure he would like to do better than that. Did have 2 key passes on the day, which is very good for a left wing back. Good to have a couple incisive passes that lead to something. 1 of 2 on his crosses. He was 0 for 4 on his long passes, 0 for 1 on his dribble attempts. He was 1 for 4 on his ground duels, 2 for 2 in the air. Always a strong play in the air, to be honest. 1 foul committed. And then his defensive stats, he had 2 clearances, 1 interception, 1 tackle, and no time dribble pass. So 6.6, pretty much an average performance for Greg Lee on the day as far as SofaScore puts it. I think he maybe, for me, might have been a little higher than a 6.6 on the day, maybe a closer to a 6.8. Not quite a 7, because again, I think with Panama's not pressing as high, I would love to see his passing stats a little bit better, closer to 70% or more, and that would kind of put him up into the 7 region for me. So 6.6 for Greg Lee. So over the course of the 2 games, let me see if anybody in the chat has put any scores for him yet, and I will give mine once I go through a little bit. Let me just see who has joined us recently. Martin gives him an A for over the 2 games. Pagan saying up my G. Pagan, respect, bro. Manavala, Greg, excellent as usual. Probably get a move in the summer. Manavala, I wouldn't be surprised. He has been, player of the season in League One. His team He might stay with his team because his team is in and around that promotion area, so that is still possible for them. But if they don't get promoted, I wouldn't be surprised if a championship team doesn't go in for him coming in next season. I would love for him to just stay with that team if they do get promoted, though, just because I know that he understands the coach system. The coach won't leave because they got promoted, and that coach tends to use him a lot once he's fit. So sometimes the grass isn't always greener, but if they can move as a club up the ladder, I would love to see him stay there. Bless up yourself, Jason. Respect for being here, bro. Like the video for me and share it around if you can. Jamaican Gooner, respect, bro. Respect, fellow Gooner. You're there live and direct. You always have some good takes, so go ahead and drop them in the comment section so you can be a part of the convo. Let's see. Michael Hall has a take on Greg Lee. Not consistent enough for me. Needs to get better technically. Ball control, decision making a bit on the slow side, which brings pressure on himself. Yeah, Dad. I'll have to agree with you there on that assessment. The consistency part, I kind of think he's very consistent in what he does, but I do think he needs to get better technically. I think whenever the Lee and Bell argument comes up, it's usually split between the fan base, which is surprising to me. I think the strength of Lee and the physical nature of Lee just resonates with more Jamaican fans, but I will say that Bell is clearly cleaner on the ball, sharper technically, tends to receive the ball and have more time on the ball, and I think that's due to the fact that he controls it in one go. Greg Lee might take an extra touch to get it under full control, whereas Bell is just a bit cleaner on the ball. So yeah, it's a debate that's a good debate because you want the players to be challenging each other. But for me, when fit, Bell is still the first choice. And I would love to see Bell with a little more freedom as well in this left wing back role, because I do think everybody says Lee's better going forward. I think, Bell has just morphed into more of a defender due to how his team's injuries have gone. He has been forced to play the centre back role this season. Last year he wasn't playing centre back so much. So, let's see people. But for me, Greg Lee on the overall window, I gave Greg Lee a B+. I think Greg Lee gets a B+ mainly because, I think technically he needs to improve. I think with this newfound courage that we had in the second game, especially, and the way the possession stats of other defenders rise so rapidly into the 80s and 90s, Greg Lee didn't quite make that progression and was still hovering in the 60% range. So for me, I would want to grade him a little harder than the rest. If Latibo there and Hector and Bernard were in the A range, I have to put Greg just below them. And I know he scored the goal, people, but B+ for me, that's what I will give him. So let me drop that in the comment section so people know, in case they don't see. I said Lee, B, with a plus there. Right, so boom. Travis Peso linking up. Bless up, bro. Bless up. On the job, checking Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. Mad. Yeah, man, big up yourself, Travis. No, say your place them there. While they there work, let's go and make the show run, man. I know you can't really comment as much, but you don't know, drop a like and a view. Fresh God say A+ for Lee. So after the highest score so far, Fresh God say A+. Jason, ESPN dissed USA and said it was Jamaica who should have won. It's a disgrace. USA struggled to beat Jamaica, who have them full team. Yeah, we didn't have our full team. I saw people saying it's a B team. I would say it was more like an A- team, because we had quite a few starters still there. But when you factor in the level of the starters that weren't there, it was arguably our most decorated players that weren't there, So when you talk about the Pinnock not being there, Bell not being there, Bailey not being there, that's 3 Premier Leaguers right there that didn't play, that would have started more than likely if they were there. So for sure, it was a weakened team. I wouldn't go as far to say a B team, but a A- team. Yeah, man. I read it to read. Didn't. So Daddy says B-. Okay. I went with a B+. Bessa said bless up. Yeah, man. Them bless up each other. J. Ross, bless up yourself, bro. J. Ross, what I'm gonna do on these platforms, I am gonna try my best, not necessarily to name drop people or talk about the progress of them. And and this is just coming from me, people. Nobody never asked me for this. I have just, after analyzing the last few windows and how the call-ups have gone, I really and truly do believe that they are kind of eavesdropping on some of these streams and trying to make sure that the conversation with the players we bring up is continued as far as from the England point of view is concerned, or whichever other country is going for the players for that matter. So J. Russ, I appreciate asking about him, and he's a player that I would love Jamaica to get over the line, because I think he will help and improve the defense as a whole. But yeah, I will not divulge anything I know on these platforms. So when the time comes and I have added a wait for folks to call in and have conversations, I will release that number to everyone, and that's how we'll communicate as far as those things are concerned. But I will not be putting them out into the world, because the reach right now might be small, but based on my projections and what I think can happen with this channel over time, I believe it will have a wide reach when it's all said and done. So we're going to be strategic in what we put out there. Zine Jaros, bless up yourself, Stets. Big up Arsenal, Canada, Canadian Gooners, and good job, Jamaica brands. Yeah, man, Mass Sports World. Big up yourself, And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. First, I'm seeing you here. So thanks very much for viewing. And yeah, man, share it around to people and let them know that there's another voice in the Jamaican space that breaks things down very logically. And, I believe that people around the world can appreciate this, because I don't think you have to necessarily be a Jamaica fan to appreciate somebody breaking down football. So yeah, man, this show, while today is about the Reggae Boyz, we welcome everybody to come and learn about what we think about the team. In the window, Lee 7. All right, Pagan. So it's a report card we're doing. So convert that 7 into a letter, Pagan. Zine, I let me know. Yeah, man, B plus, me say. All right, 7.5. So convert that into a letter. I make you see how it look. Fullback's position was in the 60s. Yeah, that was, I don't think it should have been so low, to be honest. I think we could have been high 60s, low 70s. I think it could have been better, my rock. Big up yourself, Sports Prophecy TV. J Taylor, bless up. Respect for the view, bro. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. You don't know, Sports Prophecy TV also have a channel in the space, people. So give him a strength when you see him live and go check him out. Very, very opinionated discussions over there. So yeah, man, go and check it out, man. Mirak League at A. All right. Respect Mirak. And Pagan say a solid B for Lee. All right. So pretty much most people hovering in the A to B range. I've seen a few B minuses as well. I went with a B plus on the window. But let's go ahead and move on to the opposite wing back on the window. And his name is Dexter Lembekisa. So, of course, people, he had probably, arguably, the goal of the window. I know Tyler Adams in the final. If somebody want to argue that goal was better, I can't really wrong them. But, it was the goal that I got the most joy from, obviously being a Reggae Boyz fan. And it was a great strike on the day. But we did play 2 games in the window. So let's first look at how Dexter was rated by SofaScore in the USA match. And remember, people, just like, share, and subscribe. We are trying to get the channel to 1,000 subscribers. That's the first big goal for the channel. Well, the first goal was to get 100. We got that pretty fast. Next goal was 5. We got that pretty fast. And now, since we're past 5, we'd love to get the channel to 1,000 subscribers. So, I want to say my subscriber target for today is between 25 and 50 subs. If it doesn't happen on the video itself, remember, people, if you're watching this on the watch back and you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. As the channel grows, we're going to have more content every single day once at some point. But for now, we're just coming when we can, and we're going to grow the channel organically. And I just want the channel to grow as I grow, and it will improve, people. I know those who have been here from day one have already seen some improvement, so they can vote for me in that regard. All right, so let's go through the stats, people. 120 minutes played, so he played the entire game and extra time. So great stamina there from Dexter. 60 touches on the day, as you can see on his heat map. Most of it concentrated towards our defense line, which makes sense because we were on the back foot for most of the game defending. It was a true back five for the most part in this one, people. Let's see. He only possessed the ball 23 times in all of this time on the field. No, sorry. I mistake there. He touched it 60 times and lost it 23 times. So, yeah, that's a lot of lost possession there, 23. But again, all of this is going to be skewed towards a lot of losing the ball because it's twofold. We were defending deep. I don't think the coach instructions was really to play out on this particular day. So we were going long a lot of the time, and USA's press, again, as I keep saying, was very good. So we have to factor that in. 14 for 28 for 50%. Still not the best. I would love, even though we weren't really building that much, if that could have been closer to 60, 65. But it was better than his partner Lee on the day, who was in the 30s. So 14 for 28 for 50%. As I said before, 60 touches, lost it 23 times. He was 2 for 3 on his crosses. He attempted 9 long passes and didn't complete any of them. So not very good at all on the day from Dexter as far as the long passes. Ground duels, he was 2 of 4 aerials. He didn't win any, but went into 3 of them. He committed 1 foul on the day, and his defensive stats were 2 clearances, 1 block shot, 4 interceptions, very good, and 2 tackles. And for the entire game, playing on the wing with Pulisic, was not dribbled past 1 time. So defensively, I thought was really good in terms of positioning, not getting beat too much. But I think what pulls down his score, like many others on this back line on this game, was his possession stats. Just being, a bit, not keeping the ball as much as we could have. So he got a 6.3 from SOFA score on the day. So that's basically the breakdown of Dexter's first game stats-wise. Let's do the same now for the Panama game. And I know people, you can, as I'm going, just drop your grades below, and I will go through them before I give my final grade for him. So let's pull up, excuse me, people. Let's pull up Dexter Lembikisa, 7.1 on this day. Again, he did have the goal in this game. Brilliant goal, cutting in from the right on his left foot, which they say is weaker, but I am beginning to question if he has a weak foot. 90 minutes played on the day plus injury time. He had 1 goal. So, one thing I want to point out, people, Dexter Lembikisa in this system was able to play both games for the entirety of the game. Most of the time when he plays for us, he does have to get subbed. So I do think that having that extra cover on that side maybe, lets him be able to play for longer stretches and not, use up all his energy by the 65th minute. He looks dead tired. So that was one thing that I did notice. This system definitely made it okay for all the players on the back line to be able to play the entire game because they don't have as much space to cover. So, that's one thing I did notice. But in this game, stats-wise, he played 90 minutes, as I said, plus injury time, had a goal. He had 43 touches and lost possession 14 times. Let me see, people. Yeah, 14 times. He was 15 for 25 on his passing for 60%. So, not the best again. I think this is what they were referring to just now when they said both wing backs had 60% on the day. But I would love for them to get closer to 70%, 65, 70. I know some of these are going to be going forward and crosses and things of that nature, which the percentage goes down. But I do think that we had the ball for enough stretches in this game to maybe have that a little bit higher on the day. And of course, I'm not the easiest grader, people, so you have to see with me. 2 for 6 on long passes. Did not attempt any dribbles in this game. Had 1 shot on target, which was the goal. He was 1 for 2 on ground duels, 1 for 2 on aerial duels. He was fouled once, did not commit a foul, and on defensive stats, he only had 2 clearances, no tackles, no interceptions, no block shots, no dribble passed as well. So Dexter Lembikisa got a 7.1 with the goal in the second game. I probably would have raised that up a little bit more to about a 7.5, but I understand again, due to the possession stats, some of the passing stats, that is where Soccer Sofa is coming from as far as that. So I thought I was sharing the screen there, but that's okay. You guys heard me. Let's go through the chat again. All right, so Fresh just telling me why Lee got the A+ for the goal. Okay. Mirak said that's 6 starters, so it's a B team. Count the 6. Pinnock, Bell, Bailey, Antonio. Who else? A 4-minute count, Pinnock, Bell, Bailey, Antonio. I don't think there's another one that starts that wasn't there. Who else? Mirac, let me know if I'm wrong. A 4 me count, you know. That's why I'm saying more like a A minus side, you know. Yeah, man. Okay, yeah, man. So anytime if he's from your place, well, Manavala, maybe in a dead again, but yeah, man, a theme place that man. Savannah Lamar, you know. Yeah, I don't know how him get A plus. I don't know how any player got A plus because you have to leave some room, you know. For me at least. J. Ross understand. All right, B for Lee. Okay. A solid A for Dexter, says J. Ross. Fresh God give Big Dexter A plus. Pagan say 100 out of 10 for an A. That would be an A plus then, Pagan. With him weaker foot too. I wonder if him have weak foot, you know, Alex. To be honest, you know, we are the man strike that, you know. Kept Pulisic. Yeah, man. Pulisic tried to go over the other wing, just like when he did the Lozano in the game before. Bless up Jason Gooner. Bless up yourself, Triple E. All right. Yeah, man. Make them know if you like up the live. Claudia gives Dex a A. Okay. Yeah, man, Demo. Respect, you know. Respect for being here, bro. Like up the video. And, you know, stay as long as you can. And I know you're another opinionated Reggae Boyz fan. So feel free to drop your grades as I go through the players as well, yeah? Fresh God. Yeah, you know. Sometimes I'm going to say something that is worthy of a why. Just know it's coming from a heart of love place, you know. See with me. Bless up yourself, Tennessee. Respect, bro. Respect for being here. Like the video. So wait. Okay, yeah, you told me that Dex get a A. Yeah, man. Big up Fouling. Big up Mr. United. Fouling. Respect, brother. Yeah, man. That's the whole goal, bro. Analysis, breakdowns, you know. Dex get a 8.5. All right, Triple E. We are changed a little bit today. Just to switch it up. We are the grades, like in a class. So A to F. And you can do plus and minus if you see fit. So A minus, A plus, A, B plus, you know, and so on. Yeah, man, make them know fresh. 521. So that simply means we definitely need another 19 subs at least on this one. See if we can get it to 540, you know. When all our top players return, I think the coach needs to play 3-4-3 to facilitate top players. Well, to be honest, you know, this in the Panama game, it was more like a 3-4-3 for the most part, except for those stretches of time when, you know, I think we do kind of shift to that 5 back. And I think it looks more like a 5-4-1. Sometimes it morphs into a 5-3-2 as well, depending on where Bobby Reed drops to. But 3-4-3 is pretty much what it looks like when we attack. You know, or 3-4-2-1, something like that, depending on how high up Gray and Bobby Reed are and where they are. Yeah, that is true. That is true. They would make the 6, but you know I wouldn't count Boza because I think when Antonio is fit, he's normally started over Boza. So for the first game, I would say I would agree. I'd count Gray and Antonio. So that still make only 5. Okay, you can't say Antonio and Boza and Gray. You know, one of them would probably be on the bench. No, man, a 5. Okay, it have to be Boza or Antonio. You can't count the two of them. At least to me, based on the system where the coach did play in this game. Yeah, man, it's coming RR. It's coming RR. It's something that we're gonna bring forward in the future. But as I work on, yeah, before I really too want to give out my personal number. So I add a line and yeah, me have a call, a phone specifically for my YouTube channel. But in due time, people. Triple E say A plus for Dexter. Yeah, man. I gave Bernard the slight edge, but Hector was second place for me, Peso. Juras give, I'm assuming this is for who we're talking about now, Dexter. Yeah. So A from Juras. Yeah, man, fresh. Them a sub it up, man. Keep me posted how that I go. Yeah, no, I have seen Boza and Antonio start, but remember that's when the coach was playing 4-4-2. So in this system, it's not really two striker playing, you know. Because even in the first game, is people thought that Cephas and Lowe was really playing together. In the first half, Lowe was playing central forward and Cephas was playing left in the midfield. And then he just switched them in the second half. So I don't think it was really a 5-3-2, if we're being totally honest, based on what I saw, especially when I watched it back. Yes, there were times when Cephas, was more central, but it always was starting from a wide position. So I think it was a 5-4-1 and a 3-4-3, variations of that. That's what we played in both games. And it was a 5-4-1 for pretty much 97% of the first game. Yeah, man, Omzo. Normally it's a nighttime stream because that kind of works for me. But I have a few days in the week where I will have a time or a chance to do an earlier slot. So yeah, man, hopefully, all of those you'll be present because you can't give me an excuse in the day. No. I don't need to do that. I think there have been enough coverage about that whole story all over the place. And in these beginning stages of what I'm doing, I don't want nobody to come tell me, say, me never grow the channel a certain way. I may only grow it because of this. Whoever want to run with the highlight right now that is going, great, no problem. Most of the ones that are doing it are already established on the space, and nobody can say they're using that to build them. But I am not at that level. So me personally, I'm going to bring what I think is my true talent to the table, which is breaking down the players and analyzing the stuff and go from there. There's no need for me to run down all of them things, But now I fight out the next channel where I do them thing there. That's their thing. Maybe one day I will see it fit to speak on these things. And I don't run from these topics. I give my takes on the various programs in the chat or calling or whatever. So people know my feelings on that already. So I'm going to have to bring that here. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. The four of them plus, yeah. Yeah, so it's either 5 or 6. I'm not sure. Yeah. I see more a 5-4-1 in defense. That's what I see. And then when the wing backs progress, it becomes a 3-4-3. Because as the wing backs progress, the two wingers push as well. And the only reason why I say it might be a 3-4-2-1 is at times Bobby might tuck a little bit inside, and so will Cephas or whoever's on the left, and it look a little more like a 3-4-2-1. But 3-4-3, 5-4-1, that's what I think we're going back and forth between. Yeah, man, Triple E, that's the plan, bro. That's the plan. And as I say, there'll be times for that, man. But right now, for this particular program, we want to stick to the football. Yeah, because it's very hard to have those conversations without fight, At least on this, we can disagree about ratings and things, but I don't really think it becomes a fight. We just keep analyzing it. Yeah, man, this is my thing, man. People know me as the man who going to break down the game and break down the performance to a T. So that I'm going to bring to the table, I agree that the football knowledge do the talking, not clickbait. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, real sport talk. Nothing wrong with that. And as I said, people, I now judge the people and when I do that, I feel them thing, them want to do that, that's great. But to me, when you're doing topics like that, you really need calling program because I can only give a 10-minute take on something like that. I can't speak for 2 hours on that. This I can speak for about 2 hours on because I have to go through all the players and talk. All right, so we're going to let go that, people, and let's get back focused. So I believe that's all the defenders that I really want to give a grade in this window. Of course, Tavon Gray did get a few chances to play. I'm not going to speak so much or bring up his stats, but I will say that, Tavon Gray has not shown me enough to say that he's somebody that the coach needs to keep calling. I just feel like he just doesn't look confident. He's falling down a lot. I know he's coming off injury and wasn't really fully fit coming from New York City, but it's I wasn't so impressed with this performance from him. Didn't get that much time. I thought. Let me see exactly. I don't want to misquote his time on the pitch. In the USA game, he came on right at the 90th minute, so the start of right at the end of the game, basically, because it was right before we conceded. Well, about 2 minutes before we conceded, Bobby Reed came off. He came on, and then he played the entire extra time period. And he started out on the right, and then when Greg Lee was subbed off, he had to switch over to the left side of the park, I believe it was. Yeah, so he started out on the right, basically playing a second right wing back with Lembikisa, and then when Greg Lee had to come off, when we went for it, when Kaheem Dixon and Williams came on, he switched over to the left. So he played both sides. But first game, I didn't think he was good. Second game, he barely got any time as well. Came on basically when injury time started. Again for Greg Lee, who was cramping. This time for Greg Lee, who was cramping and didn't really do much as well. So, look, I think because he got a chance to play the full extra time and I saw enough, I can give him a grade. Not like Richard King, who I didn't give a grade. I'm gonna give Tavon Gray a C minus. I think he's teetering on that fence where, I know right back is not really our best position in terms of quality because we have been kind of rotating, and the only one that has seemed to stick and cement a place is Dexter. You have the Javane Browns of the world, you have the Tavon Grays of the world. At one point, we had O'Neal Fisher, Alvas Powell. None of those guys really were able to nail down a place. And I think Tavon falls in that similar category. The only thing I will say is around each time he has come, it's been around a time when maybe his fitness wasn't the best. So that's why maybe I don't drop him down to a D. I do the research on the players, and I know for a fact that he was coming off injury. So I know he's not at his best physically right now. So that for me spares him from getting a D or even potentially a F. So I'm going to give him a C minus just because I know what I know about his physical fitness coming into the window. So people, let me know. Tavon Gray, maybe a lot of you might not have so many thoughts on him, but Triple E just put work in progress, so no grade for Gray. I went ahead and gave him a C minus, but I totally understand if people don't want to give him a grade because he didn't give he didn't do that much. So yeah, pretty much the overriding narrative is, so Jackie Love has made her mind up. He need to watch these games at home. Okay, so Jackie Love put her foot down and said it's been enough. Others saying, Claudia agreeing with Triple E, that's a work in progress. Manavala agreeing, saying the verdict is still out, not going to give him one yet. Still young, give him some time. Who would you replace him with? Biro Golden, that to me is a part of the reason why I haven't had a definitive statement on him, because every time someone asks me who I would put in for him, it's not the really players that I want to put in for him. So Gray has a couple things going for him, people. He's 21 years old. So, I don't believe he's nowhere, maybe not, maybe he's near his ceiling, I don't know. But he's not at his full potential yet. He's only 21, still growing, still learning, right? I think for him, it seems to be a true confidence thing as well, because I've seen him play in the MLS and he just looks a lot more assured, and maybe that's just, familiarity with the surroundings, teammates, all of those things, that could play a factor in it. But he's young, people, so I won't dash him away. And Biro Golden, this is a great point. The main reason I won't dash him away, besides his age, is because I don't see the replacements in the current setup. Now, again, people, I'm not going to be the speculation show on players ever. I know there are players in the pipeline that we can potentially get in. I think that's where the answer might lie as far as a replacement for him. But let's just work with it for the time being, people. I think let's hope that he can get a window where he's not coming off an injury, he's playing consistently for the club, and then we can fairly judge him if he does get, a good amount of minutes for us. Next two match, June 6th and 9th. Yeah, man. People, I'm trying to get to that match against Damrep on the 6th. I'm really gonna try somehow. Fresh, I don't know about that, you know. I mean, he didn't get that much chances to put a foot right, but in the first game, you know, we cleared a corner and it came to him, and you know, he could have just booted it down the line, he just dribble the ball out of bounds and fell down. And other times he was playing defending and fall down. And it just don't look assured, Fresh. It don't look assured. I mean, maybe we're being harsh, but let's not act like it was good either. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see him back in the team. He's shaky on and off the ball. Well, Jackie Love put our foot down, as me say. Okay, Alex attack with Fresh. Javane Brown is better than Gray. That's a conversation to be had, you know, people. Javane Brown or Tavon Gray. Is it that we just have PTSD with Brown and we just, you know, because one thing, you know, of all the players I thought that was looking shaky in the last World Cup qualifier, I thought Brown was the one we kept going back to more than anybody. So is it that we just saw him fail more, so that we just don't, you know, similar to like Alvis Powell, who has been looking better for Cincinnati, but the PTSD is so strong that we just can't even consider Alvis Powell again. You know, is Brown in that same status where, you know, we've seen him not do so well, and we've seen Dexter come into games where he was doing poorly and look so much better? Is that like really why we just kind of dash with Brown so fast? Because Gray hasn't really had the chance to really play, except for that one game he started and didn't play well. So I think with Gray, you know, he hasn't really put his hand up to say, yes, you have to. You know, he's still somebody that I think needs to do more. Yeah, man, we can give him more time. Well, look, I gave him a C minus, you gave him a C. So that's not, you know, we're not that far apart, Fresh. But I guess you're talking about people in the comments too. Jackie Love TV said D minus. Well, he will take that, you know, because you never fail him. So he can move on to the next window. But based on how you talk, I was expecting an F, because you say he must watch the games from home. 1 year younger Jackie Love. 20 and 21 is not, I mean, it's not no big difference there. They're both young players. People gave Brown time. Don't get why people are this harsh on Tavon. That is true, Fresh. Brown did get more time than Gray ever got. That is true. But Jackie Love said him just don't show nothing. Brown better than him. Demo said 1 Alvis and 1 Brown. Yeah, man, Demo was one of the biggest Brown defenders, you know, ever. Youth from JC that's in Belgium now can come in. That's a good shout, Jackie Love. Zimenez has been playing over there in Belgium. Has he gotten better? Has he gotten good enough to get a look in past some other players maybe playing at a higher professional level? Not necessarily the country where he's playing, but you know, I don't think that the league, the second division in Belgium, well, is the second division in Belgium higher than the MLS? I wonder. It's a good argument, good conversation to have. I'm not sure. Maybe. Yes, West Harding. Now, for me, if the system is gonna be the 5 or the 3, I think West Harding would be better in the center back role. If it's gonna be a back 4, I think West Harding would be better than pretty much almost everybody that we have in just our true right back role. I think him and Dexter would be the 2 best options there, or Latibo there at right back. Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that, you know, I don't know why I thought he was younger. I think he's 26 this year for real. I won't put that comment on screen, Avis, but yes, that's a player that I've heard a lot in the last couple of weeks being talked about. So yeah, I won't bring him on screen, Avis, no disrespect, but I try not to give anybody any hints, you know. That is true, Jackie Love. I think he would be better off either as a right centre back or the right wing back as well. I think it would help him. J. Ross said Brown over Alvas. Yeah, man, Alvas give everybody PTSD. All right, people. So it looks like a. All right, go on, do what you do, Daddy. Me bring you in when you're ready. Yes, I'm gonna bring on a guest, people. The one and only. Him get new name now, people. Big Chelsea fan, and him have a name Daddy Gooner now. Rough on him, but this is the original Professor, people. We're gonna let him on stage now. The one and only Michael Hall here to help break down with me. Of course, I've gone a bit of the ways through the process here, but you can just give a brief take on what I've gone through so far if you want, or we can just keep going and just keep going with the flow. That's up to you. But introduce yourself to the masses as it.
All right. All right. First things first. Bless up Jason Gooner. Bless up my son. Bless up the channel. Bless up everyone in the chat. Now, man, let's just continue. Cause I made some comments already on the defender.
You have been.
Some of my grades. I'm not disagreeing with much of the things that you have said so far. And I just on the since you're talking about Tavon Gray, yeah, I mean, he's 21. You know, can't you know what I'm saying in Jamaica? We're not dead, not dash way. You know, he's obviously got some ability. Let's see how it goes. We can't have too many options at fullback, both right and left. So if the coach sees something in him, make him stay around, let him stick around, let him be in the squad.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think there's enough of a future there that we haven't seen to at least keep him around. Now, you know, when the pickings get slim and we get down to the pickle, if he's outside of the 23, I don't think we should freak out either. Because as I said before, at some point you have to stake your claim, and I just don't think he has done that. But I'm not going to dash him away. I think there's more in the player. All right, so let's go ahead and keep moving forward. There's a player that's listed as a defender, but everyone as a Reggae Boyz fan know he did not play defense in this window. So the first midfielder I want to go ahead and break down is Damian Lowe, people. So let's break down Damian really quickly, and I'm going to just continue doing the format I've been doing that. I am just going to break it down, bringing up the stats first and talking through them, and then we can give our individual grades, what we think, right? So let me go ahead and share the screen again so we can talk about the first game we played, which was against the USA, and just kind of focusing on Damian Lowe's performance. So the first thing I want to point out, people, and let me just make sure, yes, so that is being shown. All right, so the first thing I want to point out, people, as you see here, the heat map of Damian Lowe is pretty much everywhere. He touched the ball in all four corners of the pitch, all throughout the midfield. Now, there's good and there's bad to this. I'll start with the good. Damian Lowe has never seen a ball in an area and not thought he can go and win it, right? So that's a good thing. That's great. Energetic, win the ball, let's get the ball. Now, where that can be bad is if he happens to not win said ball in this area up here, then the midfield is wide open now because you only have one other midfielder dedicated to that area, namely Casey Palmer in this game. Bobby Reed does a good job of tucking in when he can to make it a third in there. But if that doesn't work out right, the midfield is wide open. So pros and cons to everything, people. Next, let's just go ahead and break down the actual stats. So SofaScore gave him a 6.9. He played the entire game, so 120 minutes plus injury time. He had 68 touches on the day and lost the ball 26 times. Okay, so you know that's the first thing I want to touch on, people, is his possession. I think this is the part about him as a midfielder that people just kind of gloss over. Not saying Jamaica is ever going to be, you know, Mexico or Panama in how much we want to possess. But I think the next step in our development as a team is to be able to possess, if it's even for stretches of time in the game. And I don't think that a midfielder of Damian Lowe's ilk kind of helps in that process. So he had 68 touches, 26 possession loss. He was 15 of 35 or 43%. So less than 50% passes. He did have one key pass, and he attempted 10 long passes with 4 completed. So not too bad on the long passes. He attempted a cross, was not successful. He had one shot block that he attempted, and he was 1 for 1 on his dribbles. Now, as far as the duels are concerned, he went into 25 ground duels, people. So that in itself, amazing. Anybody getting over 10 ground duels in a 90-minute match or 120-minute match is doing a lot. This man had 25. He won 12 of them, so not the best, but I won't beat him because there's a lot of duels to go in. And he was 4 of 11 on aerials. Would like to have seen that a bit better for his height, but not going to kill him on that either. He committed 8 fouls, people. Only had 1 yellow card, so thank you to the ref on that. He was fouled twice, so pretty good. Keeping position with getting fouled. He had 4 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions. He made 9 tackles, people. So again, pros and cons. That is a big pro. If your central midfielder is making 9 tackles in a match, then he's putting in some work. And he was dribbled past 4 times. Con. So if you're going into a bunch of challenges, more chance that you're not going to win the ball. So, you see the good and the bad of Damian Lowe, and that overall gave him a 6.9 score from SofaScore. So now let's go to the second game, people. I'm just going to do that really quickly, and then we can break it down ourselves. So let's share that second window of the Panama game, and we'll break down Lowe's performance in that game as well. Let's get Gray off the screen. And Damian Lowe, this time, couldn't quite last the full 90 minutes, played 89 minutes. As you can see, the heat map is not as crazy. We don't see him up in the attacking corners as we did in the first game. So maybe that's something that the coach talked to him about. Say, hey, we need in these areas winning the ball more. So he did a better job there. So kudos to him. 89 minutes played, as I said. He had 44 touches on the day and lost the ball 15 times. So that's an improvement from game 1, people. So that's good. 21 of 34 for 62%, another improvement on his end. So that's good again. He had less long passes attempted, 6, only completed 1. He had no shots on target. He had 1 off target, which hit the crossbar, was actually a brilliant chip. I mean, if that had scored, I don't think anybody could say anything bad about him ever without people cussing them, because they would say, what about the chip with him on score star and Ray? But listen, we're just going to break it down the same way. But a very good attempt. I have to give him that. The keeper was off his line, and it was good thinking by him. He had 1 shot blocked as well. He was 1 for 6 in his ground duels, improved on his aerials this time, 3 for 5. He committed 2 fouls, so way less fouls. Was fouled twice again. He had 1 clearance, 2 interceptions, and he was dribbled past only once. So didn't make any tackles in this one, but did still put himself about, and I thought his possession improved in this game. Still, I think not up to the standard of a top midfielder that you'd want in your team. So, Dad, based on all those stats and what you saw with your eyes, what do you think about Lowe, and what grade would you give him for the window?
Yeah, so Damian Lowe, I will say that if there's anybody else that plays for the Reggae Boyz now with greater desire, I don't know who it is. Damian Lowe leaves his tribe on the field every time he plays for Jamaica. There's no question about that. And so we'll never fault him for that. But as you look at the stats that you mentioned, what it says to you is a ball winner and a ball hawk and an aggressive player is a good thing to have in your team. But all the ball winning and all the aggression and all the ball hawking comes to nothing if when you have won it, you give it away immediately. It's like you milk a cow and you get a bucket full of milk, and then the cow just goes up, bam, and kick with the bucket and everything gone. I'm not faulting Damian Lowe for his aggression. I'm not faulting him for his desire. I do not know if those qualities are enough to play CDM in the system that we are playing, right? And I'm assuming that the coach is going to continue to play 5 at the back because it works so well. Yes? So you're going to have 2, you're going to have a double pivot with 1 maybe being a little bit more advanced than the other. And it seems to me that Lowe would not just do what him like when him go on the field. So it seems to me that the coach instructed him in the USA game to play a little higher up the field, be a little bit more aggressive in their third, try to disrupt them before they got going. And the opposite was true against Panama. He played a more sedate game. You could see it by the heat map and by the stats that you read out. When we think about a CDM, and this is wishful thinking, right? You want to get somebody, and I'm calling this name not because him play I mean, I'm sorry to call it because somebody that plays for a club that is not mine and play for Liverpool. When you think about that Thiago Alcantara, right? He does all of those things, but he's so composed on the ball. He can pick a player. He has vision. He looks around and looks up and sees what he wants to do. Damian is not that player. Unfortunately, I believe that in the system that we have now, with 5 at the back, with the 3 that played in this window playing so well together, with Pinnock still to return, that Damian Lowe's game as a central defender is in jeopardy. And he probably now has to make his mark in the team in midfield. The fact that the coach has said publicly, it's in the local newspaper here today in Jamaica, said publicly that Lowe is great in midfield and the engine that we need and so on, suggests that the coach is very keen on making it a permanent move. And so what will have to happen is that Damian will have to adapt and grow into the role and take coaching and try to learn to temper his approach a little bit more and to be a little bit more willing to play a 5-yard pass when it's there, as opposed to a 20-plus yard pass, which will require some great technical ability and accuracy, which he doesn't currently have. Overall, I give Damian Lowe in the window, I give him a B+.
All right, so a B+ from Dad. All right, so look, I'll go. That was very well articulated, and I won't dive as deep in my articulation. I'll just go ahead and give my grade. I think for this window, I gave him a B-, people. And I think the main reason for that, I just feel like, he's kind of a victim. This grade is kind of a victim of him not being so comfortable in the position. So I'm grading him as a midfielder that I want to see him do certain things. And I can't beat the player because I don't think he can do some of the things I would want him to do. And I think the coach also knows that as well. But, I think the energy that he brings is something that is needed. But I just think that if we can figure out a way to find a good role for him there, it can work in spots. I'm still not convinced that over the course of a tournament or anything that Damian Lowe is the true answer in that role. Now, with the makeup of the team currently, if we're going to have this same crop of midfielders available to us, I struggle to see him not playing again, though. And I think that's one of the things that, I think you made a great point in that the back 5 looks so good, and we're without who is pretty much everyone would start, Pinnock, any coach. So where does Lowe fit on the back line? Does he fit on the back line anymore? Especially if, I think that the best version of us right now is going to be having extremely technical center backs back there to build the play. I think without that, Blake reverts and says, I'm going direct because I don't trust this man and I don't trust this man. The more trust he has in those guys, I think the better we'll look. And I think the next step is, can we get some midfielders in there that the defense looks at now and trusts as well? Because there were plenty of occasions in these games where they looked at Lowe and they say, and if they did give it to him, it broke down. It broke down. So
especially in the Panama game.
Especially in the Panama game when it was there to see that we could build. And then on the occasions when we built and Lowe wasn't necessarily involved, we got way up the pitch. It just looked better. Yeah, so yeah. I don't think we can have a midfielder in there that we have to hide when building up the play, and it can work. You can't put Lowe on the left wing when we're building up. It just won't work. So,
that's not to say that he wouldn't put his hand up and say, I can do it, coach, because he's that kind of guy.
Absolutely. And I think that's why
to be a striker, he would say yes.
And I think that's why, we have to give him some credit in that.
Absolutely.
Yes, Panama didn't press as well, but his stats just on face value look better from game 1 to game 2. So who's to say in this system with that same setup, it wouldn't improve game 3, game 4, game 5? I mean, Lowe has proven doubters wrong all throughout his career. So, look, I don't love it. I think we can do better. But in this current setup, I don't really see where he goes better.
Well, you say you think we can do better. And for me, that suggests that, to me, doing better in that position and doing better in that part of the field is means or suggests getting better players. And I don't know where they are. I don't know if we have identified them. I don't know if they're going to come. Like you, I don't want to speculate about who coming and who not coming and all that. I'm talking about who we have and who we know we have, right? And if that is the case, then Damian stays there. Damian stays there. I think the other things that are good about his presence on the field are good enough that we can't afford to say, boy, sit down because your build-up play is not the best.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to find people around him. You know, maybe it's not Casey Palmer, maybe it's Caroy Anderson, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I have
a feeling. Sorry, last point. Like I said, I have a feeling that he will find a way maybe to prove us wrong. I certainly hope so. I love his desire.
Yeah. Look, I think people need to realize if it is going to be Damian Lowe as the answer, just know that it's not going to look quite as good as it aesthetically could look, and just be okay with that. That's all we're saying. Don't beat players for not playing this style of football and then turn around and say you want Lowe to start in midfield, because I don't think those two things can happen, people. We're going to have to concede possession at times if Lowe is in midfield. That's just the nature of it. Yep. Yeah, Jackie Love, I see your comments about Pinnock in CDM, but I have to disagree with you there. I think the position requires too much running, and the next player we're going to talk about is a reason why I think Pinnock could not work in midfield in this system, because I think the lack of energy and running is what kills this player and his performances for Jamaica. He's asked to do more than he can in this system. So let me go ahead and put this back up. The next player we're going to talk about is the midfield partner of Lowe for both games, and that is Casey Palmer of Coventry City. So let's pull up the first game against the USA. Had it prepped up there. All right. So as you can see, the heat map is not as wide-ranging as Lowe's was. And surprisingly in this game, he actually was the one that was more defensive, as Daddy alluded to earlier. For stretches of the game, he was really the one closest to the back line, which I thought was a bit strange. But again, I think the coach was playing on Lowe's ability to press better than Casey in making that decision. But anyway, he played 74 minutes. He had 21 touches, which is quite low for a midfielder, but this game was not our game for possession. I think we hovered around 20% for the entire game. 21 touches, as I said before, 6 times possession loss, so not too bad there. 5 out of 8 passes for 63%, so just not getting on the ball enough to influence the game. He did have 1 key pass out of his 5, though, so that's good. He was successful on his 1 long pass, and ground duels, he was 3 for 5, and aerials, he was 0 for 1. He committed a foul, and let's see, he had 1 interception, 3 tackles, not bad, and he was dribbled past 1 time on the day. He did get a yellow card as well. I remember that was in a aerial challenge he was late on. So Casey Palmer got a 6.8, which I think some people, after watching the game and based on the comments I was seeing, were probably surprised at the score being a 6.8. But I think when you look at what he did in the match itself, it looks like he got most of his scores based on having a good percentage of his passes being a key pass, 1 of 5. That always will give you a little boost. And also, was over 50% for his duels as well. And 3 tackles for a center mid is not bad as well. So, I think that's a part of the reason why. And, he didn't really lose possession that much for the amount of times he touched the ball. So I would say Casey Palmer in the first game was safe. I think his deficiencies did show when he tried to, run past people that were, defending him in midfield, didn't quite have the legs to get by them. And I think overall, just his lack of, physicality in midfield in some of these games kind of hurts him. So for me, the 6.8, I guess fair. I might have been closer to a 6.5 on the day personally. Let's go ahead and pull up the Panama game as well for him really quickly, just to run through the stats. So as you can see there, a lot more touches on the ball. So you see some of the spots on the field are a little more red. That just means that he got the ball more in those areas. As you can see, he was kind of one of the links from defense, as you see these two slots here, but also we were able to unlock him in a more central attacking midfield role when he was able to turn and progress in this game. So I liked some of the pockets he was picking up the ball in, and we saw him looking a little more dangerous in the attack in this game in particular. So 32 touches on his 81 minutes played. He was 17 of 23 in passing, that's 74%, so that's pretty good for an attacking midfielder to attacking midfielder. Let's see, he had 32 touches and lost the ball 7 times, so that's really good. Not losing the ball too much. He had another 1 key pass on the day. He was 1 of 3 on his long passes this time. He had 1 shot off target, which, boy, if he had ever connected that shot that he had off target, it might have been even better than Lembekisa's goal based on the build-up play. You remember that scissor volley he tried that he sliced? He was 4 for 8 on his duels, so very good there again. 8 duels and winning 4 of them, not bad. He was 1 of 1 on his aerials. He committed 3 fouls and was fouled once. And he had 3 tackles on the day and was dribbled past 1 time as well. So Casey Palmer pretty consistent as far as SOFA score was concerned, 2 6.8s. I thought this Panama display was a little bit better than the first game for me, especially due to the fact that I thought Lowe was a lot more disciplined, and Casey Palmer actually had a little more license to get involved in the attack in this game. And in the first half, especially, I'd say from about the 20th minute towards the end of that first half, he really was showing some glimpses of what he can do in the attack. But for me, fair performances for him. I would love to see a bit more from him, to be honest. I do think that the system as it grows, we'll start to see a little bit better from him. I don't think that it helps him per se on the technical side to have Lowe as his partner, because I think he's a kind of connecting type of player. He's not really going to beat you with his dribble himself. He likes to connect with people to do what he does on the pitch. And it showed that when he's closer to the attack with some more technical players, he was more effective. Deeper into the pitch, whenever he combined with the more technical players, whether it's Bernard, Hector, Lowe, the 2 wing backs to a lesser degree, it didn't look as good when he was combining with Lowe as the others. And that's just something that we're going to have to live with if that's what we're going to go with in midfield. But overall grade for me, I gave him on my paper a B minus. I gave him a B minus. Actually, I'm sorry. I gave Casey a C plus on this window. Room for improvement for me, but not the worst, not the best. Little bit average to above average. So C plus for me.
Yeah. So Jay, as you know, in sports, them say horses for courses, right? And I know you plan later in the show to do a grade for the coach as well. I think maybe the coach got a trick wrong here. You and I and most keen observers of the game recognize what Casey Palmer's strengths are as a player based on the role he plays for Coventry. He plays a much more advanced for them, a more attacking role. He's been among the goals this year, and his qualities are better shown when he plays in a more forward or advanced role. I will concede that in the USA game, the coach, as I mentioned when you were talking about Nana, the coach was keen to have Nana play further up front, not necessarily to lend more to the attack, but to be the first point of pressing. And so he was in a more advanced position. And you were asking Palmer to do something that he's not accustomed to doing and probably doesn't really like to do. As you say, there was an improvement by him in the second game. I mean, the fact that he was playing in the link-up position in the first game and was only able to attempt 8 passes in the entire game says a lot to me. That is just totally unacceptable, right? I think that number got up to 21 in the second game, and again, those link-ups were more in the opponent's defensive third or attacking third. Like you, I am not sold on him. It's hard to say that, boy, Anderson should have played over him because we haven't really seen a lot of Anderson either. So we don't know. But I just get the sense that Anderson will give us more. He has, in the short time he has been able to play, he's shown me, I think, a little bit more just in terms of his his awareness of space and when he can turn and when should he, and what side should he turn and so on. I saw him make a little move in the game where the way he turned took 2 players out of the game right away, and he was able to make a forward pass. I would personally love to see Karoy Anderson play a little bit more in that role, and let's see what happens. I give Palmer a C for the window. I give him a C. I see a comment from someone. I didn't pick up the name. Apologies to the person who made the comment. But basically, we're saying that until we find a replacement for Nana, any criticism is moot. And to be honest, I mean, I just want to make sure that people understand my position with Nana. I don't have a problem with him playing. I think the things that he brings are way better than the things that he doesn't. And unless and until we find somebody who can replace him and who can help us to play the beautiful game, as one of the other persons in the chat, I think it was Brent, said, then we go with, you dance with who bring you. You know what I mean? And for me, Nana has to play. And I'm not sure that he can guarantee a spot in the back 3 now, but he certainly can. He certainly should be on the field. So make him go on.
Yeah, for sure. And I gave Palmer a C+, but on reflection, I don't really think that I should give him lower than low. So I don't think low deserves less than B-. I'm gonna give Palmer a B- upon a little more reflection personally. So you said a C, yeah, and I gave a B-. No problem. Yeah, and I think Casey Palmer is one of those players that divide opinion for some reason. There's a wide range of what people think, even in these grades right here. Jackie Love giving a B+. Marcus says C+. Fred J. Ross split the difference with a B. Yeah, so, he divides opinion. I put it that way. But I do think that the whole midfield is a work in progress still, and I don't think we have found all the answers as yet. But we're working our way up the pitch. The defense looks to be in good, in a good state right now, and the next phase would be the midfield for sure. So, the attack will always be the attack. We'll always have some dangerous people up there, but the defense and midfield is what I think needed work, and the defense has been worked on, and so that's good. So let's go ahead and get this off the screen for a second, and let's move to the other player in midfield that got the most time. That would have to be Karoy Anderson. And let's see his 2 games. Shouldn't be too much to go off. He didn't get that much time. But we're going to still check him out and see if there's anything that can be, anything that becomes more clear once we look at the stats. So let's go ahead and get the USA game up really fast. All right, so Karoy Anderson in the US match ended up playing 46 minutes when it's all said and done. He entered the field of play in the 74th minute, so 15 plus the 30 of injury time, and his stats go as follows. So he played 46 minutes. As you can see on his heat map, he did put himself about in his time on the pitch. Basically right in the middle of the park, all across left to right. So he might be an answer to, the energy accompanied with the technique, but I think some would want his technique to improve as well. But let's see how he did on the stats. 25 touches, lost the ball 9 times. He was 10 out of 12 for his passes for 83%, so that's pretty good. He had no key passes. He was unsuccessful on his 1 cross attempt. He was on his long passes, he was 0 for 1. Ground duels, he was 3 for 8. So that's something that I want to point out, people. Really gets himself about 46 minutes and 8 duels. So that's about as much as Palmer did, I think, for the entire time he was on the pitch as well. So that's something to...
In both matches.
Yeah. So maybe that's it, people. Is Anderson the answer to partner Palmer? If Anderson can give us the same energetic output and tackle output is he somebody that we could turn to? But we'll discuss that some more. 2 for 2 on his aerials. He was fouled twice, didn't commit a foul. He had 1 tackle and he was dribble passed twice. So he ended up with a 6.2 on the day, mainly because the dribble pass really knocks down your score. But other than that, I thought he was energetic. I think there were some times when he did show his naivety on the ball a few times, just kind of over dribbling and trying a bit too much when maybe it just required something simpler. But I'm not going to beat him for that, because I do think one of the things that a lot of our players don't do is just express themselves on the pitch. So I like the fact that he's going and trying things. Maybe time and place is something that he will develop. But I think there's a lot more in the tank that this boy can show us. And I think the more the coach, gives him chances, we'll see more from him. I do think that the implementation of the back line will help him moving forward in his performances. So, we'll see if he gets a more extended run as the windows come forward. But let's look at the Panama game. Didn't play as long, only 9 minutes. Really came in to, kill off the game. Only had 5 touches of the ball. He was 1 of 2 on his passes. So really not much to tell on this storyline. 1 of 2 on his duels, and he did lose the ball twice out of his 5 times touching it. And he did have 1 tackle in the 9 minutes as well. So really and truly, we can really break down the first game more than anything, because the second game was, circumstances came on to kill off the game. But based on what he did in this camp, I do think that is somebody that for me should be around the team moving forward. I think his age profile, what he brings to the team, the energy levels that I know he can produce, as he develops as a professional, I think that his decision making will improve as well. But I do like the makings of the player that I see. Again, I think that his next step or phase of development is to just really figure out time and place of when to go forward, when to just lay it back and get into another pocket of space to then progress the play. Because I think sometimes he kind of tries to get out of situations that maybe just require the simplest solution. So that's something over time I think that he'll get better at. But I think overall my grade of this window for him, I can't really give him much higher than a C+. I think almost got to the B, but I think he just needed a bit more time to get a higher grade than that. So I will say C+, one that I like, one that I think the coach needs to figure out more opportunities for moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not going to give too much opinion. I mean, you have said it well, Jay, but I will say that it was instructive to me that he attempted 1.5 times more passes than Palmer did in his 46 minutes. Yeah, and was accurate. So 12 versus 8, and he was accurate on 10 of them for over 80% passing accuracy. I think the fact that he's young is definitely in his favor. I think he's a player that I have a lot of time for, and I think he's a player that Marcus Mosiah guy would say Casey want porridge. I think he's a player that needs to definitely be around the squad. I think that he's certainly one for the future, no question about it, especially in an area of the pitch where we're looking for solutions. I give him a B.
All right. Fair. As I said, people, I almost boost him to the B-, but I think Lowe and Palmer, just for the sheer body of work, I think they deserve a little more than him. So that's why I went with the C+ for him. I'll go ahead and do Bobby Reed as well. And if you want that while I'm pulling it up, you can just talk on Bobby what you thought.
Yeah, man. I don't really have much to say about Bobby though. Bobby, I'm a Jenna. So, I mean, he's such an integral part of the team and does whatever is required of him in any given game, in any situation. So I'm not complaining about Bobby at all. I got a little scared when the coach took him off in the Panama game because, just in the back of my mind, I said, right, why if it go penalties? Why would I take the penalty them? I want him taking one of them, but it never came to that, so.
Yeah, no, I thought the same. I mean, I know he was tired and everything, but I just feel like his experience is just something I would want on the pitch, you know. But hey, maybe the coach talked to him and said, "Listen, coach, I have like 2 more runs left in me, you know, I have to come off." So you never know, but it never came to that. But I agree. In the moment, I was saying, boy, I don't know if I would take off Bobby, you know, to be honest, you know. I don't know. But yeah, let me go ahead and really fast just pull up Bobby's USA match, and then I'll do the same for the Panama match. So this was Bobby Reed's player rating for the USA match. As you can see, people, he did receive the highest score on the day of any outfield of any player from Jamaica. He got a 7.5 from them, and he got it by playing 90 minutes. I think it was about 92 to be exact. He had 1 assist, so he did provide the cross for Greg Lee's goal, right on the touchline, a pinpoint cross to the back post. So really well done there. He had 1 shot off target. He was successful on 2 out of his 3 dribbles. He had 34 touches, 9 of 15 for 60% accuracy. Forward players typically are going to be somewhere in the 60s. If they had a really good day, they're going to be up in the 80s somewhere. So 60% for an attacker is not terrible. I'm sure Bobby would like it to be even cleaner than that. 1 key pass though, which I believe was the cross, and then 1 big chance created was the cross as well. I don't understand how he was 0 for 4 on crosses, but he's a cross made the goal score. I'm not understanding that, but that's kind of,
Him say no man, him say him no want no crosses.
yeah, almost a square. It was 1 for 1 on squares. We use the Jamaican terminology. 2 for 6 on his long passes. Ground duels very, very good, 6 for 10. Of his 34 touches, he lost the ball 13 times. So 1/3 for attacking player losing the ball is decent. So I'm not too bad. I'm sure he would want that a little low as well, though. He was fouled twice. He was offside once, and he had 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, and was dribbled past 1 time as well. So overall, good performance from Bobby Reed. I want you to notice on the heat map. This is our defensive third right here, our defensive half. This is our half that we defend, and his most touches came right before the half line. So he spent a large chunk of the game helping out with the back line. So yeah, that's what I think you get when you have Bobby Reed out in that role. As you can see, he also had some touches right in the middle of midfield as well. So he's a player that's not afraid to go and find the game in midfield and create that extra body in midfield, which I think helps us a lot at times in the games. So I just love the fact that Bobby Reed understands space so well, and it's just, he goes into the positions that are needed to get the best results for the team in that moment. So yeah, just a very, very smart player IQ wise. Now let's look at Bobby Reed's second game versus Panama. So score wise, it wasn't as good. He got a 6.7 this time. Played the entire game, 90 minutes plus injury time. He was 1 of 2 on his dribbles. Didn't have any goals or assists, no shots on target, no block shots, nothing like that. He had 46 touches, lost the ball 17 times, so lost it a few more times. But he was 20 of 29 for a higher percentage, this time of 69%. He was 2 of 6 on his crosses into the box, 2 of 4 on long passes. He was 3 of 6 on his ground duels, didn't attempt an aerial duel. He had 1 foul, was fouled once, 1 clearance, and 1 tackle. And let's just look at the heat map. So again, people, even though he's playing that right side of this 3-4-3 on the system, he really and truly does make an extra body in midfield when need be. You see him even collecting right off the back line here in certain instances. So, just a player, like, as I said, just Swiss Army knife type player, going to give you what's needed to get the result on the day. And in this particular game, he definitely lent himself more to the midfield and to the attack, as you can see in his attacking stats not being the highest on the day. So for me, over this window, I think Bobby Reed, again, consistent performer for Jamaica. Somebody that I have tried for a long time now to get people that don't really respect him to respect him. I know Uncle Banjo will tell you that when you see him, Dad. But, it's a player that I think people now are finally realizing the value of him to the Jamaica national team. And long may it continue, because I don't foresee his performances going anywhere. He's always going to be this consistent type of player for us. I think, it might be deemed a little higher due to maybe not so much offensive output, but I think the overall display, I have to give Bobby Reed an A- for this window. I think he deserves to be counted as one of the better performers. Even though his rating in the second game wasn't so great, I still enjoyed the performance because I thought he was the reason why we didn't get overloaded at any time at any part of the pitch. His help to the midfield in particular is something that I noticed, and I hope it doesn't go unnoticed by the Reggae Boyz fans when they analyze the performances. So A- from me. I don't know if did you actually give him a score, Dad?
Not yet, but I'm agreeing with you. I think that Bobby Reid suffers in terms of his perception among Reggae Boyz fans. I think Bobby Reid suffers because too many of the fans are sort of only casual observers of the sport, right? Hopefully some, a lot of people tuning into this now and listening to a deeper analysis and so on will have a better appreciation for the things that he does. In Jamaica, we tend to big up defenders that are big and robust and don't take no nonsense and kick down a man, and we like midfielders who chase all over the place and energy and thing, and we like forwards who can, salad a man 3 times.
Yeah.
And but football is so much more than that, particularly at the international level. And I think we need to just cultivate a set of fans who have a better appreciation of what it takes, and what international football is all about, right? You're not going to see what you see on a video game or what. I mean, it's like a war of attrition. The coaches are excellent. They all what you are doing now is what coaches do when they're preparing for a game. So the same way you show us Bobby Reid's heat map and where he was on the pitch, the people that are going to play Jamaica next are looking at that too and saying, all right, this is where he likes to get it. We're going to try and nullify that. That's how fans, I think, now need to look at international football and get a better appreciation of what it takes. I'm not saying that everyone is like that, but I think more fans need to do that. I don't have the luxury. Today is not a full off day for me like it is for you. So I'm going to sign out now because I have to go on the road and do a few things. But
yeah, man.
Loving the show. Keep watching people. Like and subscribe. Jason Gooner TV up. Daddy Gooner out. Seen? Bless.
Yeah, man. Respect Dad for jumping on. I know you have things to go deal with, so go deal with that before mommy beat you. A joke. Mommy not beating people. In past the beating stage, All right, so so Bobby Reid. Next. What's up, E? Bless up yourself, E. We break down some football, or as you call it, soccer, Yeah, man, we break down the Jamaica team and how they look the other day. Yeah, man, fresh. Him not get no beating, man. I joke, Maron. Daddy all not get no beating from nobody. All right, so next player on the list that we're going to go through is somebody that I think gave a good account of himself over this window. Some were maybe not so pleased with one of the misses he had on the park on the day, but I will have to say that this young man definitely put his name in the hat as far as, getting more regularly into the squads. So Ronaldo Cephas, people, got a 6.9 in the USA game, played 73 minutes, which, in hindsight, I really feel like he maybe should have stayed on the pitch longer. I know he was extremely tired, so that's why I kind of didn't beat the coach on the day. And you know what, to be honest, he was tired, people, because not only was composure one of the reasons why he couldn't finish that chance that he got, I think it was due to the lack of legs left in the tank, or lack of gas left in the tank. Because, he could have kept running with that ball, but he decided to take a shot well before he needed to. And I think that was just down to him being tired. So make sure I go around the question, brother. Me not talk about that on this program. Me give you the answer private. Okay, that is good. That is good. I hope everybody that watched the program learn, even if them know football already, learn something different today, a different perspective at least, Fresh God agreed. Need to work on his finishing for sure. Overall composure in front of goal, I think, is something that he can work on. But it's a secret weapon is Cephas. play more deep line. Watch over the game with 40. Good making pass combination with Palmer. Okay, so you actually want Bobby to permanently be deeper. Now I think it works better because him add to that line, not necessarily live there permanently. Yeah, man. Anybody that knows me and how I break down football, it comes directly from the man that was just on the screen with me. This is something we have been doing since I was a little boy. I mean, Daddy used to let me be amongst the conversation when I was like, 9, 10, 11. And them never keep me out. So I guess I was holding my own in the conversations, Yeah, man, I did see it, man. Where it's a Cephas as a right wing back. Boy, Jackie Love, you determined to move every player up on the field somewhere else, see? I guess it could have worked though, but is Cephas a defender like that? I mean, yes, I know he will put in the work, but can he actually defend? He's an attacker by nature, so he might, I don't know if it will work so well. But let's just go to the heat map. 6.9, as I said before, 73 minutes played, 2 shots on target, 0 for 1 on his dribbles. He had 18 touches in the game and 7 possession loss. So people, some people say maybe we're overdoing Cephas' performance, and I think that's due to the fact that maybe he never touched the ball so much. But we have to keep in mind we didn't touch the ball that much as a team, and we have to factor in is like how effective was he when he actually got those touches. So let's look at that. He was 2 for 4 on his passes for 50%. Attacking players, not going to have the highest percentage, so I'm not going to kill him there. 1 for 2 on his long passes. He was 3 for 5 on his ground duels, which is good. 1 for 3 on his aerials. As I said before, he touched it 18 times and lost it 7. He was fouled 3 times, which is good. Did not commit a foul, and he was offside twice. I believe it was him that was offside on that play where he cut it back to Palmer, and Palmer blazed it over the bar. I believe it was him. Yeah. And then, or was that? I think it might have been Bobby. I'm not sure. But he was offside twice. And then he had 1 interception on the defensive end. No tackles, no dribble pass either. So 6.9 for Cephas. I think all in all, when in a game like this where we didn't have much attacking threat, to get a 6.9 definitely shows that he put himself about. I remember one play in particular when he got the ball over here on the left wing, beat 2 players, cut inside. And maybe the decision wasn't the best, but he did get a shot off right to the keeper. And of course, in the second half, he had the play where he, basically ran 3/4 of the pitch to catch up with a ball and then just couldn't quite muster enough energy to get the shot anywhere close to getting in the goal. But all in all, I think the 6.9 is fair. I think that's pretty much what he should have got on the day. Let me go ahead and pull up the Panama game now. All right, so for the Panama game, he didn't start. Actually was moved to the bench. Basically made way for Damari Gray on the day. And in this game, he got 9 minutes plus injury time. He had 1 successful dribble. He only touched it 3 times, lost it once, but was successful on his 1 attempted pass. And he won his only ground duel that he went into. So not that much to go on. Usually when you come off the bench and get a little bit of time, 6.5 is pretty much standard. He was able to get an extra 0.1 to get to 6.6. So did his thing in his little cameo. Again, the time of the game, can't really put too much weight on the second game just based on the fact that we're seeing the game out, closing out the game. So no need to really emphasize too much on that one. But for me, in this window, I'm going to give Ronaldo Cephas a solid B. I think he definitely put his name in the hat as far as one of the attackers that we can have in the pool. I do think that, the more he develops and in Turkey, I mean, put it this way, from what I've seen of Cephas from when I first heard about him playing for Arnett until he went to North Macedonia and now to Turkey, definitely the progression of the player is going up, right? And I think if that continues, by the end of this season, more game time in the Turkish league, I think this kid has a really, really bright future with the national team. 24 years of age, so getting into that peak prime time. And I think that the type of league he's playing in, being such a technical league, is really good for his development, because I think that's the one thing that, when you look at, the heights of professional football, maybe the technical ability is what's lacking right now. The physicality is there, the speed is there, just that that final hurdle of the technical ability mixed with the composure. I was actually pleasantly surprised with how well he moved off the ball. I think that's something that has improved for him. I did hear somebody mention earlier about the straight lines. That's something that over time I think can work. And I think, honestly, he looked a lot better running wise off the ball when he was wide. I think you can tell that he's more comfortable playing off the left or off the right, because when he was in the middle, I think is when the straight line issue was more apparent. So I don't think that he's just as comfortable playing through the middle as he is on the wings as of now. And hopefully that's something that over time he can develop. But I do think running off the wings, he definitely has a good handle of how he needs to be running. So for me, solid B for Cephas for the window. Let's see. So I think I did all the midfielders there. Yes. Oh, okay. Daniel Johnson, I'll just touch on briefly. I know in the first game he played off the bench. I didn't see him come on in the second game at all. But the first game, he got a 6.4, did play 55 minutes. So did play a pretty long portion of the time, the whole extra time. And he was the first change for Jamal Lowe in that first game. And I think Daniel Johnson was one of his quieter windows of late. I think one of the reasons being, he hasn't really been playing much for his club team, been in and out of the team, not even making game day squads for a lot of the time. So, I don't think he was really up to par physically for this window. So I gave him a C-. I thought that, when you compare this to some previous windows that he's had, it wasn't really the most, to write home about for him. In the first game, uncharacteristically had a low percentage passing wise, lost the ball 13 times, touched it 25 times. So not really the best. And I don't think that he really did much as far as stemming the tide defensively. He was kind of playing more on that left side in that first game. And I think that that's the side that was under a little more pressure with him and Lee on that side. I don't think he really did enough in terms of what he was brought on the field to do. So yeah, I don't think he was really ready physically for this window, if I'm being totally honest with you. And I'm basing that off of what I saw of him on the pitch. As I said before, he did not even get onto the pitch in the second game. So, maybe harsh to grade him a C- with just one game played, but he did have a long stretch in the first game of over 50 minutes. So I think it warrants a grade. And for me, it's a C-. So let me see if I've missed anything. I'm sure people might have given some thoughts on Cephas. So let's see. Cephas doesn't really tackle. Wouldn't make a good wing back. Okay. Just through me, I respect him, Channel Malayan, been a Chelsea fan since 71. Okay, might explain himself. The Chelsea fan, them want you get out of them group, because you say your daddy Gooner and them something there. Work on transition play of our game. Agreed. Cephas did very well for the first half for Jamaica. His international play didn't drop from his club play. Football Guru, I agree. Looked a lot similar to what he looks like for his club, which is always a good sign. I have to agree with you there, Football Guru. We don't always agree, but I definitely agree with that one. Yeah, because he gets the most half chance for JA. Yeah, man, you have to count the fact that he was the one that kind of was the main protagonist of getting us chances. I mean, Bobby Reed did his thing in the game, but I think his thing was more so felt in midfield and on the defensive end. Cephas was actually the only attacking threat for the most part for the entire, regular time at least. Need more what Casey Palmer did was he running the half space and Greg Lee square in and Palmer get a half shot. Yeah, absolutely. We didn't see that until the second game, and I think it might have been by design because Lowe seemed to be higher up the pitch in the USA game. Top physical shape seem to be okay. So you think Cephas could lose a little weight? I'm not really seeing that per se, but maybe you might be onto something there. Fresh gave Cephas a C and he gave DJ a D. Okay. First responder said our players seem so slow. Why are professional players so tired? First responder, I don't think I saw that in the second game, So I think we'll have to give USA some of the credit for tiring out the players. They go at full speed pretty much the whole time, and high pressing. Dex 4 plays as much as me beat the coach, I have to give him credit for this 3-4-3. Notice how it gave our wingbacks freedom to show how much of a threat they are. We just need the midfield to fix up now. Yeah, Dex, I think it was a needed change to the formation for sure. Good young attacker, very direct. His game will improve. I agree totally, Avis. He will only get better. Daniel getting old fast. Hopefully Casey can last until we find someone else. Yeah, Guru. I think I don't think it's over for him. I think he just needs to sort out his professional situation, because I've seen more, even on the energy standpoint, from Daniel before. Never the most energetic player, I agree, but I've seen more than what he even brought this time before. So I would like to think it's due to the fact of lack of playing time and all those things. And then let's do Jamal Lowe really fast. Jamal Lowe only played one game this window, so let me pull up his one appearance for the window against the USA. Let's see here. Let's pull up Jamal Lowe. People, remember to like the video, share it around to your friends and your brethren and your sister in them, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really, really appreciate all the love so far, people. All right, so Jamal Lowe, probably the lowest rated player on the pitch for the Jamaica team on the day. Him and Dexter actually tied for that as the starters, but he played 65 minutes, as you can see from the heat map. Did a lot of defending. I think most of these in the defensive middle third and defense were second half, when he moved out to the left side and switched with Cephas, but didn't really have a chance to touch the ball much in this game. Had 14 touches. He was 6 for 9 on his accurate passes. 6 possession loss out of 14. He was 1 for 5 on his ground duels, 0 for 2 on his aerials. He committed 1 foul, was fouled once. He was offside once, and he was dribbled past twice with no other defensive stats. So 6.3 for Jams. I think the window might have come a little too soon for him. He just recently back off the bench for Swansea, a couple games off the bench, did score a really good goal late in the game. But I think he's one of the players that I think the coach, if we had the full complement of players from the first game, I think Jamal Lowe would have been used off the bench and he would never have started in this window. Just based on the fact coming into the window, what kind of mileage he had coming into the game. Not much. He was coming off an injury, and it looked to be a really bad injury, but he was able to recover a lot faster. So I don't believe that Jamal is 100%. He didn't look to have that burst that he normally has to get away from players. It just didn't really quite get into the game at all. So with him not appearing in the second game and kind of not doing so well in the first, I think Jamal Lowe probably gets a C- for me on this window. I don't think that this is the Jamal Lowe that I have normally seen. I think normally he does a lot more and gives a lot more to the team. But again, I do think that some of the reason why that was going on with him is just lack of playing time coming into the window. But yeah, we have to call a spade a spade. It was not that good from Jamal Lowe this time around. So C- for me. Still putting the work defensively, was kind of clogging lanes like he should and all these things. But, we need more from the attacker besides that. So don't think he held the ball as well as he could. And I don't think that he was involved enough, even on the rare occasions when we did have a chance to spring some kind of attack. So C- for Jams for me. Still my baller. Hold your head up, bro. I think you'll be back stronger, and definitely somebody that I think should still be in and around these squads moving forward. Let me make sure that I'm not skipping anybody out that played in the attacking third. All right, so definitely let's touch on the other player that subbed on in the USA game, and that would have been Corey Burke. So I have Corey Burke pulled up here. So for me, Corey Burke got a 6.4. He played 29 minutes. Did not have a goal, assist, no shots, no anything. Really brought on to just hold up the ball and defend from the front, and defend from set pieces as well with his height. He had 14 touches, lost the ball 6 times. He was 3 for 6 on his passes for 50% accuracy. He was 3 of 6 on ground duels and 2 of 5 on aerial duels. So he did put himself about into some challenges, which is what we wanted him to do. He committed 3 fouls. He was fouled twice. Gained us some valuable possession at times, and he was offside once. He had 1 tackle, and of course, he had the dreaded 1 own goal. So, He had an own goal and still had 6.4. So that means he did something in the game according to the stats, right? I know a lot of people will not agree with that based on what happened in the end. But all right, looks like the C- is pretty much okay for most people. Football Guru said Jamal was terrible, no shots. Fair. I don't think he was good. Well, it's a Peter Mystic. He was one that received a woman's jersey. Okay, I see what you're alluding to there, Peter Mystic. I won't follow it up. I see what you did there. But respect for being here, Peter Mystic. Hopefully you like the video. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. So if your player are so bad, why we win against a strong Panama team? No, it's not that the whole players were bad, There were players on the pitch that weren't so good in the Panama game, though. I remember that this grading is for both games. So I can't just give everybody A's because we beat Panama. We did play a second game as well, Best thing about the team performance is that most of them coming off injury still play high intense. Yeah, I think, Alex, the ones on the pitch that weren't playing as much and were able to play for that long, it was mainly the back line because obviously they're not covering as much ground from where they play. But I think the midfielders and the attackers were always going to struggle unless they were coming into the game fully match fit, especially to play 120. Players are unit. That's the most important thing. That is true. I saw a lot more unity in the gameplay for sure. Yeah, man, Brando. We'll step up in our life, improve the channel. People them speak and me make the investment and step up the thing, What are you saying? Nothing was wrong with C for sure. So it doesn't have any extra weight. Yeah, I think Peter Mystic is disagreeing. He's saying that he's not carrying extra weight. The jersey is too small. Service was generally. Yeah, Duckland, that is true. I think the only thing that kind of hurt the attackers a little bit, Duckland, is Cephas had similar no service and was able to at least create a couple opportunities where we could say, boy, we could have scored a goal. So I think without those two things happening, we could really say, boy, the attackers were just starved, which they were, but we had somebody on the field that was able to, do something with the lack of service. So we have to kind of factor that in as well. Yeah, man, I don't think he's overweight. I think the jersey was a bit tight for sure. All right, so for me, people, Corey Burke gets a D-. I'm not going to fail him because I don't think any player on this squad deserves a fail based on how the window went. But he's gonna be the closest to getting a failing grade, and it's kind of hard luck on him. But at the end of the day, I think there's a couple of things he could have done differently on the day. I think he definitely injured himself before that own goal, and should have just put himself down and tell the coach he had to come off. He was trying to soldier through it because he's a warrior. That's his mentality. Very similar mentality to Lowe. Gonna try his hardest every time. But if he was being honest with himself, the injury occurred prior to the own goal, and I feel like, who knows, if he has his physical wits about him, maybe he can adjust his body better to not have it hit his head in the way it did. I don't know, but I'm just saying, if Corey Burke is being honest with himself, he felt whatever he felt to come off in injury time from in the second half. I saw it. Others who were paying attention closely saw it as well. So that's the one reason I'll beat him further. I was going to give him a D, but I'm giving him the minus because I feel like he felt what he felt from before when he came off the pitch. Okay. So Football Guru is sticking with the claims that he's a bit heavy. Corey get A+ for USA and C- for Jamaica. Can count on Duckland to give some comedic relief to the program, Some agents only here to discredit the team. Okay, one more successful winner onto the next team. No, new media. I don't think you've been following along with the stream, I think it's been pretty balanced overall. Some people have them favorites, some people have those that them beat. But I don't think it's it's any hidden agendas or anything like that. We just break down the thing, man. Jamal never really got in the game. C+ is sufficient. Yeah. I think I gave him a C-, but I wouldn't beat a C. I think C, anything over C is a bit much, I think. Corey is a D-. Agree. I think Chaddy, he had some things that he did. He drew 2 fouls that I thought in the time I was celebrating and saying, yes, that's some more time wasted. So I wouldn't say he didn't do anything. He put himself about, got in some duels, won back possession. I do think when on the rare occasions when we did play it directly to him, he didn't keep it. I'll say that. And I think also when he felt whatever he felt, he should have just went down and asked for a sub. Because I don't think he was feeling proper at the moment he scored that own goal. He was already limping before that. So, and I think even after full-time whistle, because he scored the own goal, he's trying so hard to do something to reverse that. He went back on the pitch and ran for another, I think, less than like 12, 13 minutes on the same bad leg that had been hurting him from the game. So I just think he should have been more honest with himself and just come off the pitch. Absolutely. I can't me attack. Oh, with the grades. That's true. That's true. Well, it's a grade of D, Duckland enough to take it this up. My gosh, man. Top football handling team. Our game plan was to neutralize them. We did just that and catch them on the counter. We did great. Yeah, we're not saying no. We're not saying no. We give them kudos for the game plan. Absolutely. But we can still individually mark the players, give them grades over the window. That's how we're doing. Father Bling, it looked terrible on the replay. I know it looked like him literally, like bucket in our goal. But trust me, never mean that. I've been grading off the stats and changed it for Corey. No, I haven't. I haven't changed it for Corey. You got a 6.4. I mean, I haven't done that with everybody though, Guru. Like Michael Hector got a 6.4 in this USA game, and I gave him a A minus for the window. So how would he get an A minus? I have not been biased or anything. I have used the stats as a reference, but at the end of the day, I did watch the games as well, so I can put my own opinion in it as well. And I think based on the result and what happened in the games, I gave my reason for why he got a D minus. Some would say F, but I'm not saying that. Yes, I have seen players try to run off an injury, but it was clear that he couldn't run it off, Guru. Like, if you're running and you make 2-3 run and you're doing the same exact limp as the first run, then it's not getting any better. Just go down and come off the pitch. Bring on Romario, bring on Dixon, bring on anybody fresh that don't have an injury. And maybe it's a different result. Maybe. Like I'm saying, hindsight is 2020, so we'll never know. But I could see that he was struggling to run even. I would put him on the field to run. That's literally what I wanted him to do when he got on the field. So if what you're on the field to do is compromised, then to me, you should just come off the field. And that is why I would bring him down a little bit more. Where say, Bert, get a U. Okay. But now I give him a F Father Blink. I give him a D minus same way. Because I don't care what nobody say. He never mean for about the ball and I goal. Where he said, that's it, Duckland. Him last game that. Well, Duckland, the only player that made this letter grade business forward and be a problem is the one who may just do. Because nobody never get that grade. So just get that grade out of your mind, Duckland. Nobody else not gonna get it. See? All right, so Romario Williams and Kaheem Dixon both pretty much played the same amount of time. I think, did Dixon come on in the second game? No. All right, so Dixon and Williams are grade together because they came in around the same time. So let's pull up Dixon and let's also pull up Romario Williams. All right. So we have Dixon and Williams on the screen there, people. In the USA game, so Romario got a little bit higher score of 6.6. Kaheem got 6.4. Let me go through Romario first. He played 18 minutes, had one shot off target. I remember on the top of the box, could have done a little better with it, but at least he got a shot off. 13 touches. He was accurate on every pass, 9 for 9. He was 1 for 1 on his long passes. Ground duels, he was 0 for 1. Didn't go in an aerial duel. He only lost the ball 3 times of his 13 touches. So pretty economical. Did what he was supposed to do. Did not miss a pass. Did get off a shot, which is good. So a good showing for his cameo there, 6.6. And then Kaheem Dixon, who everyone pretty much was high on for his display, just due to his nippy nature and how fast he was moving around the pitch, his energy. He had 18 minutes played, 0 for 1 on dribbles. So he attempted a dribble, which is good. 7 touches, lost the ball 4 times. He was 1 for 4 on his passes for 25%, 1 for 3 on his ground duels. Did commit a foul and was offside once. And that's the play that he got in behind and took a shot that wasn't really that strong. He was offside on that play, actually. And he also had 1 tackle in the game as well for his 18 minutes. So on paper, not many people said much about Romario's performance, but everyone had all to say about Dixon. SofaScore thought that Romario was a little bit better based on the statistics. But we'll see what people think in the comment section. Me personally, I graded them at the same exact level. I had them both at a C+. I thought that Williams, for what we didn't see in energy, we saw in his technical ability, because he is a player that, from what I've seen with the Reggae Boyz, the ball does tend to stick when he gets it. So I like that he's pretty efficient when he gets the ball. Dixon, I thought, surprisingly, didn't look like the pace was more than what he's accustomed to, because he happened to look like one of the fastest players when he came on. Now, how much of that is him being fresh and them not being fresh, I don't know. I won't play into that. I just think, off the ball, he just looked to be able to have the speed, at least, to get behind defense. Obviously, needs to work on a lot of things. His strength, I think, needs to get worked on. But I do think that he's the type of player that whatever work needs to be put in, he will put it in. So, that's the only thing for me holding him back from getting in this team regularly. I don't think he's at the physical level needed to play against the top opposition in the world. And that is what we should be striving for right now, people, is like, let's compare ourselves to teams better than us. Not just that he would come and play well against the Trinidads of the world and the Panamas of the world and, these CONCACAF teams. Let's start to say, okay, the benchmark is the USA. They have 3 straight Nations Leagues. How did he do against the USA? Well, for me, athletic-wise, he looks fine. But I think technically he's not there yet. And I think that showed in, the 1 for 4 passes and all these things. Like, he's just not quite at that level yet to me. For all the lack of energy that Williams showed, he was more effective when he actually got the ball and created more. So it just depends on what you're looking at. People, I think if you're looking at what actually happened in the game, Williams was actually a little better than him. But I will go ahead and give both of them the same grade. I'm going to give Williams a C+, and I'm going to give Dixon a C+ as well. I think for different reasons. Williams gets the C+ for me because while he didn't have many opportunities on the ball, he was very good when he had the ball in terms of keeping it and keeping possession. And Dixon, not so much for the possession, but more so just the running and the movement. And I was always gonna grade Dixon slightly on a curve because I think he's more one for the future than Williams. So I'm gonna grade Williams a little harder than Dixon here, and I think that's what makes them get the same grade. So C+ is for both of them for me. And I will just go through real quick and see what everybody thinks. Williams gets a C, Dixon gets a C from Fresh. Well done, Williams. Duklan Stenet say. Both get a C+. Chaddy. Not very good Dixon, but he's very, very young. Absolutely. I believe Burke has let down the team more than he has helped it. Case in point, El Salvador versus Jamaica. I personally would prefer he retires. Yes, that is very true, Peter Mystic. And on that occasion, I gave Burke the beating that he should get, but I also similarly beat the coaching staff because when we used to play the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-4-2, somehow Burke would end up on the left side of a formation, which means he would have to track back and help on defense. And I just never understood that. I never saw him as a technical enough player to play so deep on the pitch. He must be your last man, your final striker. Maybe he can play supporting striker. But when you put him on the wing, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Father Blinks a C- for both, I'm guessing. Romario holds the play up well to bring in the other players. Absolutely, Brando. I think that's his best skill, actually, as a forward. And he's a good finisher as well if he get chances. Depends on what you value. Dixon caused some US turnover with the pressure. That is true, Football Guru, and that's why I said these shows are great, because I might have an opinion that differs. I don't think that opinion is wrong. It just depends on what you want out of your striker. You want a harassing player, Dixon will harass more. If you want the ball to stick more when it does get to the forward, then Williams is going to do a better job than that for you. So, then it comes down to what's the tiebreaker. I think they're both very good finishers. I just think Williams has done it more consistently at a higher level. So I would trust him more to finish a chance than Dixon at this point in his career. Because see if the coach really will call back Burke next window. I don't know, Father Bling. I think this coach does give value to camaraderie and team spirit. And I know that Burke is not someone that upsets that. So, I don't know if his performance is warranted, but I do know that he's a good member of the team and the team spirit aspect and things of that nature. Dixon C- and Williams C. Okay, cool. Yeah, I understand that. Giving Williams a little more, I understand. And if you give them both the same, I understand too. All right, people. So I think that is every player that got onto the pitch. Yeah, so as I said, I didn't do the two goalkeepers that didn't play. And I very briefly touched on Richard King, didn't give him a grade. So yeah, that's everybody that got any kind of considerable minutes, or anybody that got a chance to play. Football Guru defending Burke here. Burke has helped Jamaica in the past, starting with his first Gold Cup and been played out of position for the majority. He deserves his medal and being a part of the pool. Yeah, absolutely. He deserves his medal. I mean, he's a part of the team, so he gets a third place medal. But I think he has been a victim a little bit of being played out of position. I will agree with you there. He has to go where the coach tells him to play. But I just wonder if he's being truthful to himself about his injuries, man, because he doesn't look the same. He basically can't run the same anymore. So, I don't know. It might be time. Once Devante Cole getting papers, don't think Burke will be recalled. That's a possibility, Chaddy. Duckland said the coach has to get a little markdown for selecting Burke. Everyone knew he was just coming back from surgery and doesn't have a good scoring record. And JA, and we needed a goal at the time. Well, Duckland, how much of it is down to people not being here for the window as well? I know he was in the original squad, but does Corey Burke get on the field if Kadamar Terry is there and Antonio is there? I mean, we'll never know now, but I would think that Burke was probably that last resort option in this squad, I guess you could argue why wasn't Williams there before Burke? That's where you can beat the coach, because Williams didn't really put a foot wrong in his appearances leading up to this Nations League finals, but Burke was called ahead of Williams. So there's always that too. But as far as using him on the day, I still will say at the moment, at the time of the skill sets of the strikers available, it would have to be either Burke or Williams. And I wouldn't have been mad at either one. Those calling for Dixon, I don't think the game required Dixon services at that time. We needed a better hold up forward. So I would have put on Burke or Williams at that moment. And I'm assuming he went with Burke because he had been in the squad from the inception of the squad. So I don't want to speak for the coach, but breaking it down logically, that's what I come to. Hector and Lambert. Yeah, I definitely agree that Hector for years got beaten for that one mistake. And Lambert, even when he does good performances, people just don't like him, Yeah, Duckland. Like when we break it down that way, that's some you see it. All right, so people, as this is a good segue, Duckland bring up the coach. And the last thing I'm going to do today before we end the video, it's a long video. Wow, 2 hours and 48 minutes. Respect to anybody that has stuck around this entire time. I know a lot of you in the comment section have been commenting the whole time. So hopefully if you're at work, your boss them don't know where you're going with. And if you're not at work, thank you for spending the time with me. So yeah, let's go people to the coach. Let's go ahead and talk about the coach and give the grade to the coach. So Mr. Coach Jamaica Hallgrímsson, I believe is the correct pronunciation. Definitely, got us some bronze medals. at this Nations League, was about 30 seconds away from potentially coming home with the actual trophy of this tournament by playing in the finals versus Mexico. But yeah, last minute concession, then a clean sheet against Panama, a bogey team for us who, we've had more losses than victories against recently. What do you think, people? What is the coach's grade over this entire window? Let's factor everything in, people. He came into this window playing 4-4-2 for the most part. Yes, the 4-4-2 in possession can change to other things, but for the most part, it's a 4-4-2, right? 4-4-1-1, if we're being specific. Now, this window, after a long time of many people saying the back five, the back five, the back five, or the back three, he finally went to it. So a 3-4-3/5-4-1. At times even a 5-3-2. So slight tweaks to the system, but basically the difference was we went from 4 to a 3 or 5 in the back. So for me, that's been a successful change. I think it has put players into better positions to succeed. I think Hector in the back of a back three in the middle, even though he has looked good in the back four, I think the back three in the middle is the best spot for him right now at this stage of his career, using his intelligence, using his ability to organize, communication. Latiba there in left center back looks a completely different player to when he was playing midfield in our system. Is it that Latiba there might look better in midfield with the back five? I don't know. That's something that we might see in the future with Pinnock coming back, because Pinnock's natural position would probably be that left centre back role where Latiba there was. Is it a case where it's a Bernard or Latiba there in the other slot? Me personally, I had Bernard as my best player overall in this window, so I wouldn't be dropping Bernard anytime soon in that system. So moving forward, I think the coach found something that we can go to. At least we know that, yes, we have the ability to play a back four. We have the pieces to play a back four. We have the pieces to play a back five. This only makes it much better as we go into World Cup qualifying, Copa America. We have multiple systems that we can go to whenever different problems may arise in the game. So before we sign off, people, I'm just going to let you guys in the chat let me know what your grade is for Coach Hallgrímsson for the Nations League finals window. All right. I think people still kind of discussing the tail end of the Burke stuff. Burke's in the same position. Yeah, saw that. Went for Burke because there was a few minutes left, and Burke's a very good harasser. Well, it was a little more than a few minutes, Football Guru. It was the 73rd minute, so there was at least another 20 plus. Well, when you factor in injury time, at least 20 minutes more. So it's a little, well, I wouldn't say a few. It's a little more than a few. That's a good chunk of the second half still left to play. But in the real time, I was defending the change because I thought his skill set fit best with what we needed the striker to do at that time. It didn't work out, people, and hindsight is always brilliant. So everybody's a genius after. But I will give kudos to some because some were burning out the Burke sub from the minute 1 second as him run on the field. I wasn't one of those people, and I'm not going to lie. Yeah, man, Duckland, let them know. I haven't even checked the likes, I wonder how much likes I get on this video, yeah. Enough work I put in, people. 3 hours of chattings. That's a lot, Let me see. All right, I'm going to do my good, people. I get over my 100 likes somebody didn't want. And the people them seem to have subscribed as well. So I'm very thankful again for that, people. As I said, we're coming to forward into the tail end of this. I'm just going to go through and let the people know what they give me for the grades for the Coach Grim. All right, so A for Grimo says Fresh God. Travis still beat people about Burke. Fans make Burke have to left the camp. Jaja. I don't think he left the camp, did he? I don't think the players would have let him leave. They were all trying to pick him up, man. Coach Grim gets a B+. All right, Chaddy. What you say? You're taking it as 2 wins? Well, if a 2 wins are A+, him forget. Hector and Lembe have to be named to the all-tournament team. Congrats to them. Yeah, I would add Bernard as well, personally. B+. If he had left Bobby on, I would say A-. Okay, fair, Brando. Bobby came off a Tavon Gray in the moment there. Yeah. Hallgrímsson B+. Football Guru. Yep. As Daddy said, horses for courses. Yep. Pinnock Hector lots. Bernard for back three. Yeah, that's what I want people to pick though. Everybody knows it's Lats or Bernard, but who? Which one? A plus. You all fans want too much perfection to the world who won a bronze medal. Yeah, man. Hallgrímsson A plus. I don't think I'd give him an A plus, Travis, but I do believe he deserves an A. I'd probably say an A to A minus. Yeah, I'd say an A minus. I want to leave the improvement room because if we finish second, I'd say A, and if we came first, I'd say A plus. But I think third place, great achievement. And when you factor in how we lost that semi-final game, I don't believe him deserve less than an A minus personally. Made all the changes correctly in terms of the strategy. And I think the system going forward is going to look better based on what he found out in this window. So I think overall, we're in a better position now than we were before the window started. Yeah, I think that's a bit overboard. Made the right call with Burke. We did not need a goal, but to defend at that point, it's a better score, but we need to score. But Football Guru, the only thing I'll challenge you on that is, yes, Williams might be a better goal scorer, but Williams also, while he's not as big as Burke, also has a similar skill set as far as hold up play and holding up the ball and drawing fouls. So I think he could have done that as well. Jerome gave him an A. Biro Golden give a B plus. Duclan break it down deeper than that. Him say A for tactics, B for selection, A plus for dropping certain unruly players. All right, Duclan, you break it down in full. So B for the actual team that him put on the pitches and the subs, A for the tactics in the game them, and A plus. Okay, so that average out to about an A minus then, I would think. Somewhere in there. Missing 6 starters of various reasons, bro. Yeah, man, he did this thing. Get B due to Burke sub. All right, so the people then want to bring down the score because of the one sub. That's your opinion, people. I now beat you. I give my A minus. But anyway, people, we have come to the end of a great show. I just want to thank again everybody that took the time out to join the channel or join the stream, and also those who subscribe to the channel today. Spread the word, people. Jason Gooner TV has a channel now. I know you've probably seen me in various comment sections and whatnot. Definitely been a panelist on the iMaxit, WeMaxit platforms, called into other programs as well, whether it be Elite or I Am Sure, or all about the place, Coach's Desk as well. So yeah, just let people know Jason Gooner has a channel, good content, as you can see. Definitely gonna be very football focused and football centric, analyzing things in depth when possible. And yeah, I wanted this video to be about 2 hours, but sometimes when you're discussing the football, it does get nice and you keep going. So almost 3 hours worth of content here for you today. Again, I just want to thank everyone for being here, and let me know in the comment section, are you liking the changes and the upgrades that you're seeing to the quality? Definitely, I think it has been working just great on today's program. Can feel a difference in the quality of how fast I can get to where I want to get to, just moving along through the program. So as we grow the channel, you'll start to see more and more things. I did get some requests today to get the call number sorted out, so that's gonna be the next thing that I sort out, people. So when we have these programs, I can get a little more opinion besides just in the chat. So people, once again, I just want to say thank you for joining and watching the program. Once again, this is Jason Gooner with Jason Gooner TV. I want to thank again Michael Hall, my dad, for coming on and giving his takes as well. And I want to thank anybody who took the time to click on the video, like the video, and all these things. I see that you don't have one. You will have one by the next program, Duclan. Don't worry yourself. And I just want to thank everyone, as I said before, for being a part of the conversation. So Duclan, Travis, Avis, Football Guru, Biro Golden, Chaddy, Fresh God, Jerome, Sherman Scott, Father Bling, Brando. Yeah, man, anybody that I left out, no disrespect. New Media dropped a few comments as well. Respect, bro, for that. Avis Williams has been a part of the conversation. Blair Video Show that popped up for a little bit. Jackie Love TV, definitely one that has the takes that she stands behind, and I respect that about you, Jackie Love, and you don't care what people say. You feel the way you feel. Kevin Facey, big up yourself. Marcelo, big up yourself. Umzo, I don't know where you're going, because you tell me it's Europe time. I don't see you start. After my father leave and answer your question, you're gone. It's all right. Big up my brother-in-law, Eric. Bless up yourself. Kezi, Zidane, big up yourself. Banconeri Boss from early out. Bless up, I know you're there, but he's a silent watcher, I know. So yeah, man, all the people in that pass through, man, respect. And once again, people, we're out of here. Thanks again for a great show. And until next time, people, Jason Gooner TV, and we're out. Bless.